Evening, guys. As you can see, I'm in the front room again. So if I'm looking down a lot, it's because the camera's up here. So I'm not going to do too much chatting at the beginning because I want to get my guests in. We've got quite a bit to discuss tonight. So it's going to be a good stream. I've got a good feeling about this one. Right. So I've got 2 returning guests and 1 new guy. But we'll first of all get one of our returning guests in, and that will be Paul, Mr. Retro Bay.
Well, I thought you were going to go with Scott first.
I did think about it. I was thinking about it. I thought, well, just to be different.
I like to see you keeping up with the Commodore, mate. You've got to keep up with the Commodore. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, mate, yeah. Well, I was just saying that, Mike. I'm good. I've had quite an easy day today. Yeah, I feel absolutely knackered. So I think it's been quite a long week. And I've had a lot on at work recently, with what's going on in the world. Very busy, with the lads coming over, doing training and what have you. So, yeah, looking forward to tonight. It's becoming a bit of a regular thing now. This is 2 weeks in a row I've been on a stream on a
you're everywhere.
So, yeah,
you're in demand.
to make videos.
Right, shall we get the next person in? I think we all know who he is anyway now, but let's get him in. And that is Scott, Sega Zombie. How you doing, mate?
Evening, guys. Are we all right?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. How are you?
Good, mate.
I'm good. It's been a very Maniacs week this week. I've got loads of new systems. It's been really exciting. Loads of games to play. Loads of new games to play.
Yes, and speaking of which, you'll be showing one of them systems, won't you?
Yep, definitely. I'll share one of them with you.
Looking forward to having a look at it. Right, shall we get our new guy in, shall we?
Let's get the fresh meat in.
Yeah, let's get him in.
Welcome to the party.
And that's Matt, also known as Retro Sk3l3. How you doing, mate? Oh, can you hear us?
Be gentle. Yeah, I'm good. Cheers, mate. You?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're all good, mate. We can hear you.
Just so everybody knows,
I have to apologise for my blank background. It's very dull. I'm back in hospital, unfortunately, but I wasn't going to miss this for the world. So let's crack on.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Shall we move into our first thing? And I imagine you probably already know this, Max. I know you've watched before. Obviously, when a new person comes on, I always like to ask what got them into micros. So obviously, this one is more catered towards you. What got you into micros to start with, and if so, what got you back into micros?
Well, the getting back into micros is easy. It was that man up there. But anyway,
again.
Everybody blames Paul.
Actually, on like some sort of commission.
yeah, you should have done. Shameless plug. So I did a video on this not that long ago, actually. So what I can remember is my cousin got into IT and computers first, and I think he had a 6128. And I don't know, I must have been about 8 when I sort of had a bit of a dabble with that. And thought, this was quite interesting. And then I used to get picked up after school by family friends, and he had a PC. The dad had a PC, and we were allowed to go on there now and then just to click around and have a play. So that's sort of where the bug started with IT. And I just remembered, same as like we all probably did, just badgering my parents that I want something for Christmas. And then in 1991, remember it's plain as day. I think in my video I even retraced the steps going up the high street in my local town to where I bought it from. Got a Commodore 64, Commodore C64C.
Sorry, didn't you almost start a fight on an innocent member of the public as well?
Yeah. He was kicking off at me on the top of the high street. What are you filming? What are you doing? But no, he was fine in the end. But yeah, no, it was Terminator 2, Judgment Day pack. Plain as day. Remember walking into the shop straight in front of me. There it was on the shelf, and yeah, it was all mine. When we bought it was the day before we were going on holiday for a week, so I had to actually almost wait a whole week to play on it, which was I was gutted about. But yeah, that's how I got into it. So my parents wanted me to have a Commodore 64 and not a console, mainly because they thought that I'd do other stuff on it other than playing games. Yeah, right. But yeah, and that's how it all started, really. fast forward, I didn't really do much in the way of consoles at all the way through the console era. I'm very much a PC man. So I went from a Commodore 64, and I know Scott will know this, but I went from a Commodore 64 to an Amstrad Mega PC. So if you, those of you who don't know, it's a Sega Mega Drive and a 386 PC built into one unit. But I very much only ever use it pretty much on the PC side because I was addicted to point and click games like Monkey Island and all those, which just worked really well on a PC. So I kind of then went down the PC side. But my best mate, who was a single child who lived opposite me, literally had every console under the sun when it came out. So it worked really well. If we wanted to play on a PlayStation or whatever, I used to pop over there and watch and play Resident Evil or whatever. Or if you wanted to play Championship Manager or do a Monkey Island, you used to come over mine. So that's basically how it worked. Getting back into micros, we've got to be almost coming up to a year, I should imagine, since I started again. And genuinely, the only way that I got back into it was, as you all know, I'm always in hospital. I was in hospital last year for 15 weeks, and I was just trawling through YouTube as you do. And I can't even remember which channel it was I stumbled on first. It was one of you guys for sure, one of the Retro 5. And then I just started watching more and more and more. Then I started leaving comments. And then it just snowballed from there. And then eventually our friend Paul said, I've got a really good deal for Commodore 64 if you want one. And
well, we were talking for quite a while. I remember because like I had never met you before or anything. It was in the requests, when you get a message of someone you don't know
that's it.
on Facebook, it puts it in like a different thing. And I think I was buying something on Facebook, so I had to click onto the requests thing, and then I saw your message. So I read it, and wow, it was fairly long.
Yeah.
Explain like you were in hospital and you're getting into watching YouTube a lot, and then suddenly you thought, oh, I'll start watching about retro gaming. And then that was it. And then you sent me a message, and that's how I got speaking to you. And
exactly that. And I know, with Lee, there's been some nights where he's been at work all night, and I haven't been able to sleep or whatever. We've literally just been chatting
all night.
So that's genuinely how I got back into it. So I've only really been back in the hobby for a year, and I'm actually, all these games, so anything that's console related, I'm actually discovering for the first time, which is great. I do need to work out which direction my collecting is going to go, because it can very quickly get out of hand, which I've already realized. So I think I do need to do this niching down that everybody talks about. But so far it's been brilliant. I've absolutely loved it. Community have been absolutely amazing. All the well wishes I keep getting when I'm ill. I cannot thank everybody enough. It's been absolutely fantastic. So thoroughly enjoying it.
Nice. I did like when you did that video and that guy did start asking what you was doing. That was hilarious.
I
was just going to say, to answer the question, I think it was, was it Rock and Roller? I'm going Saturday and Sunday to Blackpool.
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure if anyone else is going. Matt, I know you're probably not.
Yeah, I would love to, but I can't, obviously, at the minute, being in hospital.
Yeah.
But there's always
for me,
you can't be asked.
For me, it's too far. Too far for me.
It's too far.
It's a trek, isn't it? It is a trek.
Way.
Was it from you then, Lee? What, 6 hours? 5, 6 hours?
About 6 hours.
Can I just say I'm definitely the furthest away? I can cheat. So
yeah, you can get on a plane.
Yeah, exactly. I don't hate flying, so I don't know if that's any consolation. I really don't like flying.
You know the interesting thing now about it is like when we met up on the Retro 5, you got down here, I think, a lot cheaper than the rest of us got to Scotland.
Yeah.
We were all closer.
I can imagine, yeah.
40 quid return from Inverness to Gatwick. Yeah. It's even less to Manchester. I think it was like £32 return.
Yeah. So the answer to whether you should drive to Scotland or fly or vice versa,
it's a no-brainer.
It's simple, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
No-brainer. But I know if we have a meet up here, I know the chef wants to drive because he just wants to have a road trip with all you got before you get here. And I don't blame him, to be fair.
He does like a drive anyway. Yeah.
That would be a video all in its own. Not that I would never see it, but it would have been.
Yeah. What's this? You're not on the Friday, Paul?
Oh,
Is this
well,
to do
yeah,
with Blackpool?
I'm there on the Friday, but like obviously the events like the Saturday, Sunday. So, but yeah, absolutely. I land in Manchester at 12, get to Blackpool for 1. Then just gonna have a look around the shops in Blackpool, see if I can pick up anything from the charity shops or CX. Last time I went, Super Jim Tendo was there. He met us off the train, and we had a bit of a look round. So I might be able to meet up with him, but he's probably going to be at work, so I'll probably just have a bit of a mooch around, have a couple of pints and that. And
There's a decent group going, isn't there? I think there's quite a few from what I've heard. So
yeah, there's certainly a fair few. But anyways, I just want to answer that because if I didn't, I'd forget.
Right. Shall we move into our next topic? And that is this one here. So obviously, I imagine most people are already aware that Oliver Frey passed away last month. And I really wanted to talk about this because, for starters, I mean, you know, we all know him for his artwork, but there was one thing in particular that I didn't realise he did do, and that was 2000 AD, which is a comic I really enjoyed. So I had no idea that he'd done a few of the covers, one of them being Rogue Trooper. So, and obviously his artwork's on magazines and games, and I've got a game just here. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's the cover to X-Force, and you can see just in the corner, that's his little
was
logo there.
Was that what they're called? Oh, what was that film? It wasn't Deadpool. Was it? What was the film where it's like meant to be? It's got Jim Carrey in, and they're like all like superheroes. Or no, it might have been Deadpool. Was it not Deadpool 2? Where
Are you thinking of Shazam?
In the called.
No, it's Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass 2, Jim Carrey's in.
It must be Deadpool 2, where he gets a load of people in, like to make like a team to go and rescue someone, and like I'm sure he calls them X-Force or something like that because he doesn't like the X-Men, does he?
Oh right,
Yeah.
it is Deadpool 2. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that
right.
is.
Yeah. I haven't watched Deadpool 2 so much. I mean, first one I thought was really good. Second one was okay, you know.
Yeah, it was all. Yeah, I like them both, but I just love the character. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
My favorite superhero, to be fair.
But what I'm confused with this, when I was looking this up, this cover appears on something else, and I was like, well, hang on, was this already used on a normal game before this homebrew game? Because this is homebrew, Cytronic. So I'm confused on that, and I think you X-Force.
No. What was the other game called?
I don't know. I just know that it was on something else, and I know that Scott showed a book a little while ago, and it's got it on the cover, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, and if you notice that one's got a little bit more to it than this. This is like more of a
like zoomed in,
cut down version.
Zoomed in
like,
on
yeah,
it. Yeah. I'd imagine this is off one of the magazines that.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah,
but normally,
maybe.
like the magazine covers, that they used to base that on one of the games that was in issue. When you think that means you used to come up with them in like a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
I mean,
sorry, go.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, I'm probably out of the three of you, I'm the sort of the least experienced, if you like, in this hobby. So I'm not going to pretend I know Oliver Frey like he's my best brother. But I mean, everybody could ask to appreciate the artwork, because back in the day, that's we've mentioned this many times before. That's all you had to go on. So literally, the picture had to tell the story of the game, the atmosphere. It had to convey the whole message. You had no social media where you could just go and let's go and have a look at what that game's like. So the skill in what he used to be able to convey through his drawings was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
How many times did you buy a game because of the artwork?
100%. That's the only thing you had to go on, right?
Worth the salt.
Well, I'll be honest with this game. I mean, I bought this purely on the artwork because I could tell from that it was a shooter. And, I've always said I'm not good at shmups, but I like playing them. So, and that was all there was on Cytronic's website. There was no like clips or screenshots. So I purely went on that artwork. So it worked.
That artwork, Lee, is a Falmouth game, Delta Charge.
Right. Okay.
Game
that's,
inlay from 1990.
that's interesting. That so it's been used on a
And
game
this
before.
is the full artwork. I've just found it.
See, look at that.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, that's the full picture.
And you can tell just by looking at that's the same guy that did Zap and Crash. You can tell, like it's the style. You can see it a mile off. Yeah, there's a reason why people love these cover art for sure.
It's just not. It's not just the computer game side of things. I didn't realise this until I was talking to Beeps about Oliver Frey, and we were talking about a book, and the book that made. I can remember being in sort of junior school, and the book that got me interested in horror.
Mm.
The artwork was done by Oliver Frey, and it's this. And this
that's
is
amazing.
one of the most nostalgic pictures there is to me. I can remember this book coming out. It was like a late 70s book. And it just covers everything there is to do with Dracula and werewolves. And it was that book that inspired me and why I love horror so much today, because I was just completely drawn in by it. So it's not just the video game side of it.
Yeah.
Horror as well. It's crazy.
I mean, looking at that picture there, that just reminds me of like 80s B-movie horror movies. You know?
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of there. Yeah, I did see one when I was Googling the other day. I saw one, and I've said to you about it earlier, Scott, where there's a zombie ripping his own heart out. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Definitely down your street, mate.
Oh, yeah, totally. Completely in on that.
Yeah.
Scott, where did you say you got that book from? Did you say Fusion Books?
This was originally, I bought it a number of years ago off Fusion Books. I don't know if it's still available, but it's a beautiful book. The artwork in here is amazing. There's so many great covers to Zap and Crash magazine in here. I was trying to find the iconic one, but
definitely, if you're into that, look for, there's a Zap 64 Facebook group. And a guy called Chris Wilkins, who he produces this, which I was just about to show you, and that's like the new Zap magazines. But it's all to do with the old Zap as well. And he's often got on there. And there's going to be a raffle, I think, for a signed photo or a signed picture that Oliver drew, and that's going to go, I think, to cancer research. I think because it was cancer that took him.
Yeah.
So I think that's happening. I hope I haven't missed it. There's a chance I have, but that was meant to be happening soon. But he's been heavily involved with the relaunch of Zap in the last few months, and obviously that's the original artwork from the original first episode. But there's just like his work is just absolutely stunning. And if anyone's read Zap or Crash, then when there's a review done, you know, like all the pictures of the reviewers that they've got, the headshot, that's by them. And I showed you lads this before, but like I was lucky enough. I use this as I think it's my profile picture on Facebook at the minute, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But, I think I put that on when I found out what happened. You know, I was lucky enough to get one before it was too late. So
I was watching some stuff on another podcast earlier today, and on the Amiga magazine, not the Amiga, sorry, the Amstrad magazine that he used to illustrate for. Like he did the illustration for the first issue, which was a CPC 464 taking off like a spaceship, and then the very last episode was it actually crashing and blowing up. When you see the two side by side, it just looks absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic.
I've never seen the last one. I've not seen it. I've seen the first one.
The last one is it crashing into almost into the same sort of landscape, and it's just like it's like the back end of this 464 exploding.
I bet OSG's got that one. he loves the Amstrad. I bet OSG's got that one, the one where it's crashing.
I've just got a thing from Rach here. It says here, what's the name of the book, Scott? Looks like something my sister had.
It is The Fantasy Art of Oliver Frey, the extended edition. Or the horror book. The horror book was oh crikeys, I've forgotten. Hold on, I can find out because I'm watching it on eBay.
Well, one thing I have noticed with these books is that the price, obviously, like always, when someone who's well known for something passes away, obviously the price of these things goes up. And I did see that. I don't know if it's the book you got, Scott, or another one, but I know that one of them had gone up to like crazy money.
Yeah.
So, and there was only a couple like for sale as well. That was the other thing. So,
well, the thing is not many people. Well, they will know now, but didn't know that he done the artwork for this horror book. It is the Hamlin Book of Horror by Daniel Farson in 1979.
Well, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I had no idea that he'd done artwork for 2000 AD. And I mean, I loved that.
Yeah.
2000 AD was a great comic. I mean, obviously it's still going now, but yeah, I don't really read it these days. But I mean, I saw one of the Road Trooper covers he did, and I remember that issue. So yeah, really good.
Well, he started off doing the Eagle as well.
Oh, did he? I heard that he did the Commandos. You know, the Commando books.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
No, he covered a lot of the early Eagle runs and Commando. Loads of war comics by the looks of it.
Do you know what I like about artists is that, you know, people who do your everyday things, you know, or even people who are known for speaking publicly, all this sort of stuff, over time they get forgotten. But you'll notice with artists, like particularly people who draw and paint, etc., they don't get forgotten, do they? They're remembered for a long time. And I have no doubt in my mind that Oliver will be remembered for sure.
It's that image. That image to me, I can remember seeing that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And being blown away by that. That is an amazing image. That was on Crash.
I hope somebody makes a video about him. Like, you know, I hope someone does, like somebody can do it justice, maybe like Kim Justice, someone like that.
Yeah.
You know, like a history of the games or even just a history of him, because I'm pretty sure he escaped from Germany or something like that. It was as a child or something that came to the UK, or I don't know, something along those lines. Anyway, in his early life, but
yeah, I had a quick dig around earlier, and I couldn't find much out there about him actually, which was a shame because I was hoping to.
Well, he used to work a lot with Thalamus. He used to do a lot of their artwork, and when they set up, he was like part of the original team. I think there was only like 5 or 6 of them. But yeah, he was one of the original Thalamus crew. I couldn't do it justice. Basically, like I wouldn't be able to make like. He's basically the artist that I've just loved. The game covers, the magazine covers. Like I just couldn't. I don't know. No matter how good I made it, I would never be happy with it. So,
do you know what's crazy to think is that nearly all of us would have held one of his designs on a magazine in our hands.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
100%.
And probably didn't even know it. That's the thing, isn't it? You know, it's insane. But it's nice to know that there's a legacy there, and that, you know, it will be remembered for a long time. So that's good. That's what I like. Yeah, very good drawings. I do love his artwork. Right. Okay. Shall we move into our next topic? Let's hide that one. And this one, I'm going to go to you, Scott, because I know you've had a great pickup, which I've had a sneaky peek at, and so's Paul. I think Skelly might have as well.
A little bit,
yeah. So that is Scott's picked up some stuff.
Yeah. Well, this I struck gold with this really because I didn't know too much about it. And the thing is with the micros, everyone talks about Commodore and Sinclair and Amstrad, but the Atari kind of gets forgotten, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I did have an Atari 800 a few years back, and it's really interesting when you delve into it. And this is in fantastic condition. You know, I'm really chuffed with this. Really? Unfortunately, I haven't got any software, so I've not played any games on it yet.
I'm going to put you up on the big part, Scott, so we can see that.
But it's an Atari 65XE, which is basically through the 80s. The Atari 800 was probably Atari's most successful computer at that time. And Atari went through so much trouble, didn't they, in the 80s with the crash, that they just kept on. When Atari was sold to the next person, they just rehashed the same old computers. And
Yeah.
this is basically an Atari 800 as far as I'm aware, with a few probably a little adjustments. But the more you dig into this and the more you read up and you look into Atari, it's crazy what those guys went on to do. Like Jay Milner that done the Atari 800, then went on to do the Amiga.
Yeah.
And, you know, people that are into their CPUs and microprocessors and all the circuitry and the motherboards, you know, apparently there's a lot of similarities between, obviously, the original 800 and the Amiga.
Yeah.
And
he must have been a massive B-52s fan.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
He named the chips after a lot of the songs.
That's
He
right.
worked for Angus and Paula. And it was the motherboards that he used to call them. Was it Lobster? There was all different ones, and they were all named after B-52, either albums or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I didn't know too much about the Atari home computers. You know, I had an Atari ST back in the day. My experiences with Atari were the 2600, the 7800, and the Atari ST. So everything in between now, I kind of don't know too much about. And I've been watching a few YouTube videos on Ataris and some of the games, and Si's put in comments that the Atari does some great arcade ports, which is what's drawn me to it, because, you know, things like Joust and Donkey Kong and Pac-Man, they were ported very well to the 8-bit micros, the Atari ones. And also, what's going to interest us guys is the homebrew scene on the Atari is massive.
Really?
If you go on to the American forums, it's massive.
There's like we've got a Facebook group, 8-bit homebrews, and there's a guy in there, Alex, and he's I think he's from South America. I'm not going to say the country because I'm about to get it wrong. But the scene there is like he's always posting games, but because I didn't really know much about it, you know, I always like it, and I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty decent. But yeah, the homebrew scene is big.
It's some of the stuff that they're getting this Atari to do, because of obviously its architecture and how it's built. A lot of the games that come out in the 80s, because the money wasn't there, the big companies didn't support Atari in the UK. It was all the sort of budget labels like Mastertronic, Players. They all backed the Atari, but the big boys didn't. So you didn't get to see the true potential of the Atari 8-bit. And I've seen some of this homebrew stuff, and that is, it blows you away. And I've ordered a couple of cartridges with some really interesting looking games on, and I think it's really going to give sort of like really going to open up. I think when you look at the Atari, when they unleash its power, it's more on par with a Commodore 64. When if you look at a lot of the videos covering the Atari stuff, you've got to remember some of those games were designed in like 1979, 1980, so they don't hold up to some of the latest Spectrum and Commodore stuff.
The one that sticks in my head, it's like isometric, a little bit like Last Ninja 2, but it's kind of like Indiana Jones, like it's like the Incas or something like that. It's a South American game, and it looks amazing. And that is the one I remember about the homebrew.
So is the homebrew scene on the Ataris across all the systems, or is it just specific ones, Scott? 'Cause I haven't looked into it.
It looks like the homebrew. There's a lot of love for the Atari 800 and the 800 XL.
Right, okay.
That seems to be the one that everyone sort of gravitates towards. But the joy is all Atari did through the 80s up until the ST was rehash that same computer and just brought it out in different models. So technically, that all the old games, all the later games, they all run on the XE and the XL systems anyway.
Okay.
So if I'm right in saying that system came with a tape deck, right, Scott?
Yes, this one come with a tape deck, but it also you could get the disc drive because obviously in America, disc format was a lot more popular than tape. It was mostly in Europe tapes, because of the cheapness of them. So Atari, it's funny when you read up on Atari, a lot of the tape games are pretty unreliable because the architecture of the Atari wasn't quite there to read tape. It was devised really for disc.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got the cartridge port. You've got the cartridge port on there, and there's a mass library of cartridge games available on the Ataris as well.
So Retro Warp's put here the SIO2 SD for the Atari 65 XE.
Yes. Yeah. No, I've got a couple of those sort of things that I'm looking to get. There's a guy at the moment he's waiting for parts, and he's going to build me a similar setup to that so I can get the whole library on just one unit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fantastic thing. And when you delve into it, there's a guy called Joe DeCure, I think his name is. And he's the guy that invented, and you think about this, he invented the USB with a couple of other guys, and it all generated from the SIOs, the serial port of the Atari 800 that was designed in 1979.
Wow.
He then went on
that was crazy.
They managed to get rid of all these serial and parallel ports that we had back in the early 90s and devised that USB. And that's what, and we got Atari and the 800 to thank for that, because that was the basis of it. And, you know, when you look into it, it's crazy how significant Atari was back then.
It's funny when you think about it. I mean, you hear these things all the time, don't you? Like systems that were pretty unassuming, but are known for starting something, you know?
Yeah.
It's always funny when you hear things like that, but it seems to happen more often than you think. Might be a failed system, but something about it was revolutionary.
Yeah.
It changed things.
In terms of Atari stuff that I used back in the day, I think I vaguely remember my secondary school probably had an Atari ST. I think I was probably to do with MIDI stuff in music or something, because I think they were quite good for the MIDI side of things, weren't they? The STs.
The ST was,
yeah. So I think the secondary school had some STs, but other than that, I don't really. I've got a 2600 at home, but other than that, I don't know much about the Atari stuff. Like same as you, Scott. You know, other than the 2600 and the other couple, that's it. I didn't even know. Like
well, a lot of people back then, you got to remember it was the mid 80s. You know, the Atari ST launched a lot of time before the Amiga did.
A year, wasn't it?
Yeah, at least I'd say it was probably 2. And
everyone
that couldn't wait went for the Atari ST. It wasn't until the Amiga's price dropped that people then bought an Amiga, because the Amiga was really expensive.
That's because it was the 1000, wasn't it? It wasn't until they brought the cut price Amiga 500. Yeah. I mean, you could buy an Atari ST for not much difference from a Commodore 64 when it first came out.
And it was the software. Atari by then realized, I think where they failed with the 8-bit computers is they were so expensive. And by then they realized that to get everyone on board, they had to pack in lots of software. And I can remember my Atari ST, I was gutsedly disappointed because I really wanted an Amiga, but my parents got me the ST. But the amount of software and games and all the stuff you got with it, it was crazy. It definitely entertained me over Christmas. And I think it was the following year I got the Amiga, but over that year, I really did love the Atari ST.
A lot of games do run better on the Atari ST, like Stunt Car Racer. I mean, I played an Atari ST before I ever played the Amiga. I didn't even know an Amiga existed. I had my Commodore 64. My mate had a ST, and I went to his, and I was, of course, I was blown away. Do you know what I mean? Because it was just that next level. It was. But yeah, a lot of games. There's more games than what you think were Atari ST games, and were then ported to the Amiga.
And there was a lot of the 8-bit games. A lot of the 8-bit games that were big towards the end of the 8-bit era got re-released on the Atari ST, and a lot of those never made it to the Amiga. So there's a lot of games, crossover games that weren't available to the Amiga.
Yeah, I'm going to say it before Si in the comments does. Of course, you can link up the ST to the Amiga and play Stunt Car Racer, because I know how Si loves to say that.
He's probably like that right now.
Yeah, I'm going to say that right now, so I'll beat him to it. But it's interesting that you could do that, though, right? I mean,
Really.
Well, yeah, but again, everybody thinks about cross-platform, like with modern day, with
Yeah.
Fortnite
Exactly.
and all that, and they think it's a modern thing. But
Yeah.
we're going back to late
late 80s,
80s, early
90s.
90s. It was already there.
Mm. Yeah.
And the original Amiga was supposed to be the Atari 16-bit computer.
Yeah.
It was only that I don't know the whole politics behind it, but the design of the Amiga got sold to Commodore, and then Atari, because they changed plan and they wanted to build the ST as cheap as possible with parts off the shelf rather than these custom chips and stuff.
So from what I remember, the people who were making the Amiga, they started off by making joysticks originally, and then they decided to try and build the Amiga.
That's right. I've heard that.
Atari, they obviously seen it, and they wanted a 16-bit computer. So they said, "Well, we'll give you, say, $1 million, and you've got like so many, like 2 years to pay it back, and if you don't, it kind of belongs to us." And then Jack Tremmell left Commodore, went to Atari. Atari, because I think they were putting money in to the handheld at the same time. They lost a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
And basically the Commodore approached the guys who were making the Amiga, and they went, "Look, if we can have the Amiga, we'll give you the money to buy yourself out of the money that you owe Atari." And then Atari lost the Amiga to Commodore, and then because of Atari, I put money into that. That really hurt Atari, and then the Atari Lynx as well, which was another. I think that was
Epic's, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was who made the Stingray like controller. It was not Connex. I think it was.
Connex done the Atari Jaguar.
Well, I think they might have had something to do with the Lynx as well. But anyway, like they had to put so much money into that. Then that's pretty much what burst Atari. And so
I know there was a lot of shenanigans that went on. I don't know if anyone watches Retro Man Cave, but he's talked about it quite extensively.
That restoration video I was talking about earlier before we came on, about the Amiga 1000. It goes through the whole history. It explains it. It's a brilliant. It's 3 parts. It's about 20 odd minutes an episode. It's definitely worth a watch. I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
But of course, that's not all you picked up, though, Scott, was it? You picked up something else as well.
Yeah, I've actually picked up, and it's the first time in 5 years, because those that followed me many years ago, I actually was quite heavily into collecting for Amstrad. But I sold my collection probably 5 years ago now, at least. And I don't know. I just wanted to get into some of the homebrew Amstrad stuff. I know Paul showcased some of it, and
some of it's fantastic. It's hard to find. It's hard to find, but when there is a good game, it's really good.
Yeah,
I always say relentless. The minute someone says Amstrad homebrew, that
you've got a hand all the time.
Yeah. So I've took the plunge, and I've got myself, because I thought I'm not going to start down the route and the rabbit hole of collecting all the Amstrad stuff I used to have. I'm going a different route this time, and I've picked up a 6128, which is what I originally had, and it's got a GoTech drive in it.
Nice.
So it's got a lot of homebrew in there, so I'm really excited to show some of that off.
Nice.
There's some great stuff on here. And the game that blew me away, which stopped my research in trying all these games, is that I couldn't believe that Attic Attack, which is one of my favorite Spectrum games, has some developer has done it for the Amstrad. And that last night I discovered that, and it just blew my mind. That was it then. I just played Attic Attack all night.
Yeah.
Well,
but
hopefully
it's set up right beside me. I'm itching to show it, but I can't because it's all plugged in right next to me.
You might be able to let Si know how to play it, because I know he done a video recently, which I think inspired you to play it that night. Yeah, he plays it, and I'm looking at it thinking, well, what the hell do you have to do?
Yeah.
So,
the thing is with Attic Attack is, as soon as someone talks about it, shows it, plays it, I then get obsessed. I have played Attic Attack ever since Si's video. That's all I've played.
I don't think it come out with the Commodore 64 either.
No, it didn't. It was only on the Atari. You had Wizard's Lair, was the kind of Amstrad and Commodore 64 sort of clone of it.
Okay.
Done by, was that Bubble Bus software?
I think that's actually in my next video. I'm pretty sure it's in there.
Yeah.
I
But,
think you know what it is, but nobody else does.
Attic Attack for me is just like when Sai-san, I've never played this game. I'm like, what? How have you never played Attic Attack? And it's once you know the principle of the game is that you can pick up 3 items. You use the Z key, pick up those 3 items, and you have got to unlock every single door. And you've got to collect the parts of the key to the main door to get yourself out. And that's it.
Right. Okay. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, me and Paul not being specky guys when we was younger and being C64, of course, we look at that game and we're like, what the hell do you do?
Yeah, it's passed me by as well. I've never played that, so I'm going to have to look that one up as well, man.
It was the first game I ever finished. My mum loved that game when I was a kid. Obviously, I was a bit too young, but I used to watch her play it all the time. So then I got kind of obsessed with the game. And then it was the first game I ever completed.
Mate, that's like the Ninja on the Master System for me, but I'm still not completed. I will complete it.
Look, battle lines drawn here. Look.
So, Scott, here's a question for you. And Si, maybe look away right now. But when he was walking over things and he couldn't pick them up, do you have to press a keyboard button to pick them up?
You have to press Z.
Right. Okay.
The Z key, and that will pick up the items, but you can only hold 3 items. And there's 4 coloured doors, 4 different coloured keys. So that's the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
The thing that made me laugh on that video Si did was that he picked something up but didn't know which key he'd pushed.
Which key done it?
He's obviously just going like that on the keyboard.
Me being me, I was shouting at my laptop, "That's the Z key!"
When I was watching, I was like, "Fuck knows how you pick that
up." Oh, that's funny. Right. Is that everything you picked up, Scott, or was there anything else?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it this week. So yeah, Atari and Amstrad. You know, the micros are really taken over again, and it's all because of homebrew. And it's all because of Paul.
Yeah, it's all Paul's fault. It's just blaming
I as well. So, in fact, I've went through a bit of a lull. I haven't played much homebrew recently. I think I was saying earlier, I really need to get back into that because, I've been playing Hero a lot. And to level 12 now, I'm really starting to get good at it. I'm actually starting to memorize it.
I was going to say, you memorizing it and just knowing how to control it over, because there's little bits where you can just run straight across some of the gaps.
Totally, yeah. So I'm getting there, but yeah, I've been playing that, and I've been playing Millie and Molly because somebody done a video on it. I started playing that again. But I've been playing it on the Switch because it's on the Switch as well. So which while they're all watching stuff, on TV. Well, not that there's much on TV at the minute, but while they're doing whatever they're doing, I'm playing Millie Molly with headphones in, listen to that chilled out music, listen to all them screaming at each other, and I'm just like that.
Well, speaking of Millie and Molly, I mean, I like I said in the video, I had to apologise to Paul in the video because Paul said, "Oh, you need to play this. It's a good game," and I remember looking at it and thinking, "Oh, I don't know, it don't look all that." But then when I started playing it, I was like, this is really good, and that's why in that video.
Can you still get it on a physical release, Paul? Because I downloaded it off of, I can't never remember the site. It's itch.io. Is it itch.io?
Yeah. I think you can get from there for a quid or something.
Yeah, I got it from there, but I had a quick go on it, and I thought I could easily lose my life in this. And then everybody started doing videos on it, and I was like, "Oh, here we go."
when it comes to Map Soft, obviously, they've had a few issues in that recently. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried to buy a couple of games the other day. I couldn't buy them.
But I know for a fact they're moving between premises. And Jamie, who runs it, he actually went on holiday today. He's out in, I don't know, Spain or something like that. Luckily for him. But yeah, they're moving all the stock. They're in like a bit of a changeover period. But yeah, so that's what I know.
I can let you guys know that after 3 months, if you watch my last Spectrum Spectacular video, I showcased some bitmap soft games and they didn't work. And after 3 months, 2 of the 3 they have sent me.
Ah, see now that one, the Hardy game. The Hardy game is sold out. The Trans Central was in, but when I put it in the basket and then tried to pay for it, it wouldn't allow the payment to go through.
Well,
So,
I'm going to do a
the
spectacular video, and I'm going to unseal these on camera and see if they work.
I mean, I've been on the waiting list for Redshift now for since the dawn of time, I think.
It does feel like a long time when you wait, and especially with a game like Redshift, which
yeah. I
mean,
I've got it.
64 fan, it's got to be up there with the best of the 8-bit.
Yeah, 100%. And I've got the digital file and I can play it. That's not a problem. But I want a physical copy. And I've been like, I want it. But yeah, it's been ages.
Right, I'm going to move into the next topic because obviously we always discuss homebrew at the end. So I'm going to move into, and Paul, you asked for this to be included.
Over to you, Paul. Pass it back.
Well, I specifically remember you saying I've been playing a lot of Amiga. We got to talk about Amiga. So,
well, I'm going to butt in before Paul starts. Cool. I got a 1200.
Nice. I wish I could get another one of them.
I'm going to put my disco lights on for a little bit.
Yeah. So my sister, for those of you in chat, I've been wanting a 1200 now ever since Martin and everybody else has been getting one. I don't like everybody else having stuff that I haven't got. And my sister was on holiday up at North Yorkshire and Scarborough, and there's a game, the Games Pad, I think it's called, the shop. She walked in and saw. Actually, it was Sai who saw on the picture, wasn't it? Oh, go rescue that Amiga, I think he said.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and I sent a picture to my sister with a circle on it. She went back in the shop and it was actually his. He owned that one. It wasn't for sale because but I have got another. And then he in the depths of the shop found another and she bought it for me. So I am well happy.
Yeah.
Over to you, Paul. That's it. That's my knowledge of Amiga done.
Well, all I was going to say was that I'm in a WhatsApp group and I did see one come up on a picture and I was like, oh, I'm really glad that Matt's got it. So
yeah.
What can I say? Steve, Addy Sneaker Freak, sent me a USB for the Amiga Mini. And since he's done that, oh my God, like I've been playing it a lot. It's back in the main room, in the front room, on the TV. So
you've lost yourself to it.
I've just been delving in, but the problem is, it's got me back into collecting Amiga games as well. Like I'm playing games that I used to play as a kid, and I'm looking on eBay. I'm talking to the usual suspects on Facebook, asking them like, can you look out for this game, and when I first started doing the Amiga Big Box Collection videos, there was only going to be 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The next one's episode 3, and put it this way, there's definitely going to be an episode 4 as well. I really got the bug of buying Amiga games that I loved playing when I was a kid. And
you've done a Martin.
Oh, mate, I'm looking at them now, and I've got some. I'm going to show you one. I'm going to show you the last one that I've just gotten. And oh my God, I loved this game. I love this game so much.
It's a slippery slope that I'm worried I'm going to get into because I love big box games, PC and Amiga. And yeah, this is going to be dangerous. They
do look good on a shelf, though, don't they?
Yeah.
You've got to admit.
Oh, what a game. What a game.
I put a silly offer in. It got accepted. I couldn't believe it. But oh man, it's just wings. The cinemaware for the Amiga is just God,
and that looks mint as well, Paul. That looks mint.
Really good condition, doesn't it?
It is, honestly, it is just like.
Hang on, let's put you on big screen. There we go.
Wow, look at that!
Yeah, look at that. It looks brand new almost. Like
Mark. There's a bit of a crease there.
Bit of a crease, that's it, really.
We've got the original price still on.
I bet you paid more than $9.99 for it, Paul.
Yeah, I bet.
So yeah, I paid £6 more. Yeah.
Wow, that's
not bad.
Wow,
that is a £40-50 game.
Yeah.
Pretty much every time I see it.
Wow.
Silly offer in. I think it was up for 30, which, to be fair, I would have paid. Or it was 26 because I think with postage it was going to be 30. But yeah, I think it was
That's
like
not bad, is it? Like,
Result that is.
16,
Yeah.
17 quid. It was £20 all in, including postage. But it's just you always know when someone cares about the games when you get the box and it's got something to pack the
so it
stuff.
don't rattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bow in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fully complete. It's got just the manuals,
Yeah.
the discs.
How many discs is that, Paul?
It's a 2-discer.
Oh, it's only 2.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is like combat, but you've still got the story element as well. So, yeah, B17. Well, it's not one I used to play that much. I used to play it with friends, but that's a cracking game. But I won't be buying that one. There's literally, I always say this: no matter how far the journey's gone with buying Amiga games, there's always one more.
It never ends.
But
And,
like,
and that is why I don't buy a physical disc, because I know that's what would happen to me.
It's going back to the first subject again, though, isn't it? In terms of the artwork, that's what it is. It's the box, it's the artwork. It's just even I would probably quite happily buy a box that's empty and just have it as a display piece. You know, they're so good. Like the Monkey Island one, I love the Monkey Island box. I think it's just like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Ants was like I love. Was it Ants? Oh no, they came from the desert. It was came from the desert. Like
what
that.
a game!
I just thought that was amazing. That was in me top 25.
Rocket Ranger, that was a great game by them as well.
Such like not enough people have played Rocket Ranger.
Yeah, I love that game.
Absolutely class.
I don't think I've played it. I've certainly heard of it, but I don't think I played Rocket Ranger.
It was not a film, but I don't think it was based on the film. I think the film
Rocketeer.
No, it's kind of based on those early sort of like what were they called?
1930s
Cinema roll things where they used to just show like little clips, didn't they? Rocket Ranger, and I think it was Rocket Man. It was based on.
But no, that's gone back. So that's gone into the collection, and as I say, I've now managed to get myself probably another. There's going to be another 2 because I've got 19 games left to show them, and there's 2 more games that I want. One, it's not going to be coming anytime soon because it's like £100 plus game, and the second one, I'm just missed out on one on eBay, and I'm in conversation with a guy on Facebook to try and get hold of it. It's a point and click, and it's an absolute class. Oh, it's a class game. You know I love me point and clicks. Beneath the Steel Sky, the Monkey Islands,
Settlers is a belting game.
Settlers was one I was thinking about, but
yeah, I love Settlers.
I used to put a lot of time into it, but I just know the problem is because it's such a time-consuming game, I wouldn't play that game now because I just don't get enough time.
Yeah,
you know, whereas something like Wings, I can put it on, and because it's like a story. You know, you can work your way through it and save it, and but yeah, Settlers is a game that I used to play quite a bit.
Well, see, at the moment, I mean, I've been running a series of videos where I'm going back to games I played back in the day on the Amiga to see if my thoughts are still the same on them. So
Speedball's still better.
Yeah, but I can't no.
I know, mate. It's nostalgia. It's nostalgia.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, I did play Speedball 2, but I always preferred the first one.
Speedball 1.
Yeah.
See, like I think I missed out on Speedball 1, and I think the first one I played was Speedball 2. And because I started at Speedball 2, the thought of going back to I mean, it is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more basic. Do you know what I mean? Like the screen size, like it's kind of. Like you can see the pitch.
It's less frantic, isn't it? It's less frantic.
I think it goes around more. Do you know what I mean? Like the area of play is bigger. Trying to go back to that is hard. Is really hard.
Yeah, good game.
Well, that might be in there. You never know.
Well, see, the thing is, I mean, going back to Speedball, I mean, that was one of the first games I ever played on an Amiga because it was a friend of mine's Amiga. It wasn't mine. I didn't have one at the time, so.
Do you know, that's a really good question. What was the first game you played on the Amiga? I would have to have a serious think about that.
Yeah, I think Shadow of the Beast might have been the first one, and then Speedball was a close second.
I think the first game I played on the Amiga was Blood Money.
Mm.
It was a weird sort of it was DMA game, and it was like a shooter.
I think, unsurprisingly, I'm going to say Championship Manager.
Manager. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that to come out.
His friend's house, and Barry Nags, he was called, and he had an Amiga, and I still had a Commodore 64. There used to be a lot of Micro Pro Soccer because it was good on both systems, and really similar, so you could play just as well, you know. And then he was like, "Do you want to try this?" And then I watched him play it, and then we worked out how to do a 2-player. And literally, I used to sleep at his house for 2 nights. I don't think we went to sleep for like 36 hours. And that was just to get through pre-season. Do you know what I mean? No. But it was almost that long. But I think it was probably Championship Manager.
I think.
No,
First...
no, it can't be. It's got to be Micro Pro Soccer, because that's what I used to go to his house to play.
Oh, Micro Pro Soccer. That might have been one of
Micro Pro Soccer.
I think the first one I didn't play it, but was exposed to on the Amiga because my mate had an Amiga. I think he got Simon the Sorcerer. I want to say it might have been that because
that might be.
He played all the point and clicks on my PC at my place, and then he kind of felt like that's the sort of thing that he ought to do because he didn't have them. So I think he went and bought Simon the Sorcerer for his Amiga, and that was the first game I played on the Amiga.
It's class on the CD32. It's got Chris Barry.
I was about to say that.
The original Smeg head. Him doing the voice.
Just seeing OSG putting up Moonstone there, and that kind of that sheds a tear to me a bit, that, because it was about 4 years ago. Lee Thornley, people might know him off of Facebook.
Yeah.
You buy loads of micros off him. He's a big seller in micros, and he offered me an Amiga 1200 fully loaded, all accelerators, everything, every game on it. And I sold my Amiga collection to pay for it. And I had a massive Amiga collection, and one of my prized games was Moonstone. And I shed a tear when I sold that game because it doesn't play very well. Far as I'm concerned, it doesn't play as well on my Amiga. I don't know if I've got a dodgy ROM of it.
And just, if OSG is still watching, what was the homebrew game that he recommended? It was like I can't remember what it was called. I'm sure it was made by Psygnosis a few years ago, but it's an Amiga homebrew game, and it looks absolutely class. But you can't get it now. You can't get it for love nor money. And I've had an eBay search for it, but I can't remember the name of it. But
I know Martin, the Hobby Lodge, has been trying to get homebrew stuff for his Amiga, hasn't he? And it's hard to come by.
It's hard to get it physical, isn't it? It's not as big, the physical releases. There's plenty. The homebrew scene is massive for the Amiga, but the physical
exactly.
side of it is a lot more of a challenge.
It's a shame, really, because there's a market there.
When I sold my Amiga collection, I kept 2 games. One of them, which I ain't got at hand because it's with my my other Operation Wolf games, and that's Operation Wolf. I kept that because obviously I had the cab. So I wanted every game or every release of Operation Wolf. And the other game, which this is really rare, it was Cine Steve that got me onto this, and that is Batman.
Yeah,
because Batman.
You've done a lot of Batman recently.
Yeah.
The whole this game for me on the Amiga, when I got the Batman pack, this blew me away. This game, I thought it was amazing. The music, the game, everything about it.
You got that actual Batman pack? Is that the?
This isn't the actual one. If you remember,
like back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah, I got the Batman pack, and because that was when the price of the Amiga dropped. And they relaunched it with this.
Yeah.
And I think that was like their biggest selling sort of pack that year.
Was that not their first one? Was it not the first?
No, before that there was like was it Deluxe Paint and some other software?
Maybe.
The first sort of like movie sort of big game tie-in from what I can remember was the Batman one. And this box is rare because most copies of Batman's in that small box.
Yes. Yeah.
Which has got no artwork on it. This one I kept it because it's the big box, and it's also got all the artwork on it, and like the screenshots.
Yeah,
well, I love the music on it on the credits at the beginning.
Yeah,
it's great, isn't it? Yeah.
And this has got the disc, the manual. It's all mint, and I've also got the original sticker
Oh,
very
Oh,
nice.
nice.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't sell it. I had to keep this game in the collection. So
please tell me you're going to tell us what the second game was.
what on the?
Did you not say you kept 2? I thought you kept 2.
Oh, the second game was Operation Wolf. I kept
of
Operation
course,
Wolf.
Okay.
I might have Operation Thunderbolt as well.
Thunderbolt,
I know
yeah,
I've definitely got the long box of Operation Wolf. I kept those 2.
Yeah,
But the
played
rest
them a
all
lot.
went.
Yeah, I played
We're
them
about
a
to get
lot.
the
with my
we're
mates.
about to get the blame from Martin for emptying his wallet again.
Yeah.
And I just said, just hold off a couple of more weeks. I'm nearly there. I don't want to be doing this with Martin or I'm fucked.
Yeah, you'll be outbid.
I know.
It would be hilarious if they were bidding against each other, wouldn't they?
Yeah, maybe he got the game that I wanted that I can't tell you what it is yet because I'm not bought it.
Well, I mean, we're talking about Amiga, but none of us have mentioned IK Plus. We've got to mention IK Plus.
Well, great game.
What a
The
great
thing
game.
with IK Plus is it was great on the 8-bits as well. I don't think there's a
Yeah.
bad port of that game.
Yeah.
The Amstrad one looks really good, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it on
I'm
the
itching to get that for the Amstrad. That's
it
one
looks
game.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I just remember that you used to be able to push the space bar to change the shimmer on the water of the sun when it changed it from to sunset, and then I'm sure if I remember right, if you push T, the trousers fell down on the fighters as well, didn't it? Yeah, all
You could
sorts of
also
weird
type
stuff.
swear words in, like if you type like FCUK, it used to come up with like keep your dirty hands off that keyboard.
Yeah.
And if you do
Something
it
like that,
again,
yeah.
it used to crash the game.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm sure it used to crash the game.
and you used to have little Pac-Men in the background going along, and periscopes coming out the water as
I
well.
can't
and looking
remember
around.
that. There's
Yeah.
fucking loads that they put in.
You can't tell I've been playing it recently, can you?
The problem I have with
What
the
have you been
Amiga.
playing
So,
it on? Oh, sorry,
What-
man.
you carry on. You carry on.
Well, I've played it on both because I was playing it on the Mini not so long back, and then as you know, I got an Amiga 500 off of Martin, so I've been playing it on that because it's got GoTech in it. So I've played it on both. I prefer playing it on the actual proper Amiga because obviously you can use a joystick.
You can
It's-
use your. Have you got a mini?
I've got a Mini, yeah.
You can use that joystick on the Amiga Mini.
Joystick.
You want on the C64? You know.
No, the joystick I've been using is my what's it
Arcade
called now?
R. Your
Arcade R, yeah, which is perfect for IK Plus because I've
Got a
said this
click.
to you guys before. Like, if you slide kick, you can win most bouts just from slide kicking, and if you've got an arcade stick, that is perfect. I mean, back in the day, I used to do it with a zip stick, but now I bought the Arcade R.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So from the Amiga Mini or the Maxi, you can use that joystick on the Amiga Mini, so you could be able to play it with like.
Yeah, but that's a crap joystick, though, isn't it?
It depends. I think the Maxi one's all right, but the Mini one was terrible. I don't know. Like you kind of. It's because we're used to like better joysticks. Like back in the day, if you got that joystick, you'd be probably really happy with it.
Yes. See, I bought the C64 Mini. I didn't get the Maxi, so.
You
So
can buy
It
the
is an improvement with the Maxi one. It's still not great. It's too
Yeah.
chunky.
Yeah.
The dimensions are too much in your hand.
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, so I actually prefer playing it on the proper Amiga because of the fact that I can use an old style joystick and, what's this? SF2 Turbo on SNES and then IK Plus Amiga, my top 2 fighters of all time. Yep.
Fair enough.
Both good choices. Star Wars on Amiga. Yeah, that's something Yeah, it was out on the Amiga. It was out on the ST as well.
Yeah,
I
I think I had it on the ST. I never played it on the Amiga though.
Obviously, these are games I will have to get because obviously I'm doing my Star Wars video game pursuit, and so I'm buying every Star Wars game on every system. So I will have to pick them up. They are a bit pricier. I wouldn't say they're out of the realm of possibility, but they are a bit pricier. And Empire Strikes Back on the Amiga, for some reason, that's going for like 50 quid on eBay.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't ask me why, but evening, lads. Just a quick hello. Yeah.
AJ.
Hi, Jay. How you doing? Yeah. Never reached black belt, but been very close. I have reached black belt back in the day. Not recently, but I did.
What I was going to say about the Amiga guys, for me, I mean, I need to expand my knowledge because same as everybody, I end up returning to just back to the same games over and over again. So your Chaos engines, and you just play the same ones over. So I do need to, because I'm almost certain there'll be some hidden gems out there that are absolutely fantastic games. That
Have you played Benefactor yet? Because
yes,
that game I've never played. Never
so
played it.
I only, because you discovered that off the back of OSG's video or something, or you recommended
Yeah,
it to
well,
you?
he suggested it for like a puzzle sort of like
Okay, yeah.
puzzle sort of game.
And then there you go. Was it Benefactor you were talking about, Paul? Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's a cracking game. But it's not one that I would have necessarily.
I'll probably just skip past it. You know
exactly that. Yeah.
See, one that Scott mentioned like months back, Banshee. I never played that back in the day, but then when you said about it, and I think Paul mentioned it as well, and I got on that and I was like, yeah, this is a good game. But the thing that's lacking is no music. It's very unusual.
I love the ambience of that game, the sound effects, the ambience. You don't kind of need the soundtrack, I don't think.
I suppose
to be fair, it's not hard. Like you haven't got time to listen to a song.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but at the same time, you can't help but think it's very unusual for the people who did it. All their other games were all known for having fantastic soundtracks.
No, it's not a bitmap game. It's made by Core Design. I think. Hold on 2 seconds.
I thought it was.
It kind of feels like it's a Bitmap Brothers and Sensible Software game, but I think they deliberately borrowed from them.
I actually thought it was a bitmap game.
Just to answer Martin's comment that he had on the screen just then. Yeah, Martin. I was playing that earlier today, so that's definitely a game. Degeneration. Good game as well.
I remember suggesting that to Martin because I don't think he played it before, but it's just such a quality game.
And they do an AGA version of that as well, don't they? Degeneration, I think I saw in my library. So that will obviously work well on the 1200. So definitely one for the list.
OSG's comment there. He's
got
a video.
Guys.
All right.
OSG's got a video for the best PD games, and I think literally after I watched that video, I messaged them saying I need the ROMs to them games because some of them look absolutely amazing. Really.
I love the title of it, Alien Fish Finger.
There's like a Thrust one, which I'm dying to play. I was massively into Thrust.
Laser Squad.
Not heard of that.
No, me neither.
I don't know. It sounds familiar. I can't remember though. I'm more of a visual person when it comes to remembering if I see a screenshot.
Yeah, or box art or something like that. Yeah.
Names, I'm terrible. But you all know that, Bob.
Oh, here we go.
Ali.
Ali's here. How you doing?
Good to see Ali.
Right, okay.
We've been talking Amstrad as well. He's missed all the Amstrad talk.
Of course, yeah. He was into his Amstrad, wasn't he? I'll have to have him on at one point or another because this is a thing, like I said before, you can always find people who are into their Speccy and their Commodore 64, not so many people with Amstrad. So
I think he did. I don't know if it was a live or whether he recorded, but if Ali is still there, I think he did a Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders walkthrough, or one of those, a point and click. So he's obviously, I think he's got a secret affection for a point and click somewhere. He did that a couple of months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Well, someone's shouting me, so I'll be. No, that's God's back. I'm about to go for 2 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, mate. All right. I'm going to move us into our next topic anyway, Paul. So, right. So, funny enough, actually, though, this is one that Paul was talking about. So, he wanted to talk about 8-bit micro emulation. Now, I know that you've dabbled in this quite a bit, Matt, haven't you? Because of your situation.
Yeah, exactly that. So, I mean, people have their opinion on emulation and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. For me, for 2 reasons, really. So, I spend the majority of my time in hospital. I mean, emulation is the only way I get to play these games, really, when I'm in hospital. So, for me, emulation is fantastic from that point of view. Yeah. But it's also... I've come to this game late. I've probably decided to start this hobby at probably the worst time ever, when there's been this massive retro boom, and the prices of everything's just going up. And so, don't get me wrong. And I would almost challenge anybody that if they say you get the option. Here you go. You can either play it on original hardware, the original game, or you can play it on emulation. Everybody's going to say, "I want to play it on original hardware and original software." Of course, they will.
Yeah, of course.
But circumstances, cost, your personal circumstances. I know some guys, like you've made no secret of this, Lee. Space. If you haven't got enough space to store this stuff, then emulation is your only option. So yeah, I heavily use emulation. Earlier today, I was just saying I was playing a few Amiga games on my laptop. I've got a little 8-bit do controller. There you go, just fire it up and away I go. So yeah, I'm a big fan of emulation across the board, not just necessarily 8-bit. I know we're primarily 8-bit micro on here, but yeah, across the board, emulation all the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you've got like a C64 Mini, a Amiga Mini, it's all emulation.
100%. Yeah, it's just a Raspberry Pi, effectively, isn't it? Pretty much.
It is, yeah. In a case, yeah, that's pretty much it. Something I wanted to show, because this is something. Obviously, as you know, guys, I had that trouble with the Spectrum, so a lot of the homebrew games I'd bought in the anticipation of that Spectrum Plus 2A, I couldn't play. So the only way I could play them was on this little handheld device here.
I feel like that plays Spectrum, by the way.
It plays. This is the thing. I don't have an Amstrad, but I can play Amstrad on this. So, yeah. I mean, this is a Power Kiddie V90. This, when I got it, it was £24. I think that was during the first lockdown, and obviously it's from China. Now you'll pay probably more like £40. They've gone up in price quite a bit. But
it's not often you can buy something modern these days, and the price goes up.
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of people interested in that.
That sound is even the same as a bloody Game Boy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I show you, it's got an IPS screen in it. I mean,
it's a good screen.
Yeah, I mean that's a Mega Drive emulator there, but I mean, I'll just flick through and I'll show you.
But it's a modern day emulator machine that's actually gone up in value.
So you can do, you can do Amiga. I mean, this is the latest firmware update. It doesn't come with this firmware. You have to update it. Why can I?
So talking to you previously, Lee, am I right in thinking that it says on the advertisement that it can do PS1, but it really that's kind of where it starts struggling, isn't it?
Yes, it struggles at PS1. Anything before that, it will run. Yeah.
So is that the one you were recommending to me? Because obviously I pedalled the Evercade because I was a bit annoyed.
No.
I've ended up going. I'm going to have a bit funny about with the old PSP over there.
Yeah.
Hack that or do whatever I need to do with it. So that's going to be me handheld gaming system. But I remember you were telling me one, and I was nearly in. Like it sounds like such a good bargain for what you pay for.
The one I recommended to you was the Retroid Pocket 2 because I knew that you wanted to play PS1, which of course that can do. Whereas
I've got a lot of
this one struggles.
PS1.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, with the Retroid Pocket 2, you paid a price tag because of that. So you're looking at. I mean, you would have only needed the 2. You wouldn't need the 2 Plus or the Pocket 3 that's going to be coming out soon. So you could have picked up
the Pocket 3. What's the crack with that?
So the Plus 2, all it is basically the same system. I think there's a few slight upgrades to it. It's a little bit more powerful, a little bit faster. But it's got a touch screen, if I remember right.
Yes.
The Plus 3 is a completely new animal. It's a new model. So
what will that emulate?
The Plus 3, I don't know, but I mean, I would have thought it would be able to do maybe PS2 because I know PS2 emulation is a thing. Obviously, on the Retroid Pocket 2, you could do Dreamcast, but it wasn't perfect, same as N64. So who knows? Maybe with the Pocket 3, you would be able to do that. I don't know.
They're suggesting some in the comments, actually. The RG351V.
Yeah, so that's an Ambonic. Ambonic devices are good. You quite often find they're around the same sort of price as the Retroid systems. They do some really nice ones where they're metal. But the problem is where it's metal, it makes it heavier in your hand. So you do tend to notice it when you're playing on it for an amount of time, you know.
Lee, save that comment for the next subject because that might be relevant for the next one.
What's that? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it will be for the next one. Yes. Yeah, we're getting to that, Paul. We will be going into a topic about that afterwards. Fantastic. Give everyone this is right. Yeah, well, it says here to play games, but and I mean, let's not forget some of these games are really expensive as well. That's another thing. So population covers that problem as well. I'm definitely not. Or what's Paul?
Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, I've still got one here somewhere.
That looks like a Game Boy Advance.
How many
SP.
copies of that game do you own, Paul?
I think I've got about 6. But I'm down to 3. I've only got 3 more to go.
Or do you just keep randomly sending them to people?
Well, I've asked for Ali's address, and I was like, "You don't have to send me any money. I just want to send you this game." Just so means I've only got 1 more to go.
Just to answer Paul's question here, yes, it's a little bit smaller, definitely lighter as well, and slightly thinner. You can probably see that. Yeah. And it's all like obviously a little SD card that if I turn it round.
Just on a micro SD, is it?
Yeah, just fits in the side there. So, I mean, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. It does feel a bit cheap to the hand, but I mean, what do you want? Like, you know,
yeah.
I got it for 24 quid. I wasn't expecting the world. I mean, it's rechargeable and that as well. So, IPS screen. You know, what more can you ask for? But, yeah, like I say, you pay a bit more for them these days, but. Using joystick I had as a kid. Yeah. RG351V. Yes. Is that the latest one? Because the trouble you have with Ambinic, right, is they release systems every couple of months. Like, honestly, they've got them coming out all the time. And for someone even like me that follows it, it's very hard. What was that, Paul?
Sorry, I was just saying it sounds like Apple.
Yeah, well, it is almost like that. I mean, it's very difficult to keep up with which one's the best, which one's the latest, because they do throw a lot of them out. And I mean, you've had the 351P, you had the 351M, then you had the MP, and it all gets very confusing, you know.
Great names they give these things, isn't it? Just
roll off the tongue, don't they?
Yeah.
Not as bad as Xbox. They're the worst at naming consoles.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they do it all around the wrong way, didn't they? Like, that's the thing.
Give me 2 minutes, guys.
Yep. So what Paul's saying now, I would doubt a handheld would manage PS2. I'm sure I have seen something that can run it fairly well. It does struggle, I'm not going to lie, but I have seen videos where people have managed it.
Talking about emulation, the best thing I've seen is the Steam Deck.
Yes.
What that can do is mental. That is a crazy bit of kit.
Yeah, but you've got to get the one with the maximum amount of if you get the
That's the one
end,
I played. My brother's got one, and what he's done to it, you're just like, wow. You know, it can emulate
there's one
and everything.
I think it's so much memory, but it makes it sound like you can put like a micro SD card in, bulk up the memory, but you need to get the one with like the onboard memory. Because, if you get the other one and then you put the like a 128 gig card in or 256 or whatever,
it slows it. The read in between it. Yeah.
Apparently, there's slowdown on the gaming, so you need to get. Do not buy the base model. You've got to buy the next one up, and then apparently when you add the card in, then that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch before it came out when they announced it. I did watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and there was a lot of people saying that, you know, people are going to be in trouble if they buy the smaller ones because there's things they won't be able to do, you know.
And it's not explained, so you wouldn't know. But isn't one of these Steam Decks like this? Aren't they like 400 quid?
Well, I see in CX, because CX is near the Retro Realm, and they've got one in their window, and they want £900 for it.
Wow, what?
Yeah, they've gone up in price because of obviously all the problems with the chips and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they rocketed.
Wow, fact, oh man, I wish I bought one now.
They were
you could have doubled your money.
I think they rocketed before they even released it, didn't they? Like, prices were already starting to creep up. PS Vita was amazing. Yeah, a lot of people, like Paul was saying, turn them into emulators. In fact, my PSP that I've got, which I always say about this, I got it in a charity shop, and it, including getting a new battery and a charger for it, cost me about just over £10. And it came with the SD card adapter in it, which had Mega Drive, SNES, and there was something else on it as well. I forget what, but it corrupted, so I now can't play any on it.
Well, I'm going to do mine, so I'll send you a copy of just wipe it and
yeah. But I mean, I can still play PSP on it as well, so it's a result.
It's a bit risky, but I did see a video probably about a month or so ago, a tutorial where you can jailbreak your Nintendo Switch and put some stuff on that and make that an emulator, emulation machine as well, which is obviously
that's been around a while. Yeah.
Which looks pretty good.
I heard about it recently, but I literally had no idea it existed. I didn't even know that you could emulate. I'm not 100%, but I'm sure I read that you can emulate the Switch on a PC.
I don't know. I'll be honest, I haven't heard that, but I don't see why you couldn't.
Yeah, the Switch has got emulation. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but as we're talking about emulation, like 8-bit emulation, I use the Maxi a hell of a lot. It's just a lot easier, and since you can use the control pad from the Amiga Mini, and I know it's not a joystick, and the diagonals can be a little bit difficult, but it is. I think I have evolved from the joystick to the joypad now. You know, like sometimes when I go back to using the joystick, I do find it harder than what I used to, and I think I've used joypads for that long. So for me, being able to go back to emulation using the Maxi, there's games that I'm better at now because it's a joypad than what I used to be back then. But then there's also other games where the joystick goes like diagonally better. So I'm worse at those games.
I agree with you there. Like on the Amiga Mini playing Chaos Engine, I can't play it with the pad. I can't play it with the pad. I've got to play it on the proper system with the joystick. Like like you say, the diagonals are bloody awful. Like you just can't do it.
On the Amiga CD32, you have it's like, I don't know if like the CD32 control is different, and I know how bad it is, but you could get the diagonals. Like it just works better than what it does on the Amiga.
On the 32, is the D-pad actually like square, or is it actually the cross? Because isn't it the cross on the Mini?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's probably why the diagonal works better.
That may be a really good reason why it controls better on the original CD32 than what it does on the Amiga Mini.
What's this there?
Yeah, other 8-bit emulation. Well, it's probably more to do with, I think, our next subject. The reason why that I use emulation on 8-bits, but what I regularly use, whether I'm making some content or not, would be the Maxi, which is that's it.
I mean, one of the things, again, like you just said, which will be in the next subject, but C64 Mini, Amiga Mini. But I also used Fuse quite a lot on the laptop because, again, going back to the problems I had with that Spectrum Plus 2A, I could only play homebrew either on the Power Kiddie or on the PC on Fuse. So Fuse was another one I used quite a bit for the Specky. So obviously, like now, I don't have this problem because I got the Spectrum off of Scott there. So, but up until then, that's how I was playing it. So, but shall we?
I'm quite jealous of you having that Spectrum. I've watched that Spectrum for the last few years.
Yeah, the history behind that Spectrum.
I actually felt quite lucky, getting that, because
totally.
Because this is the thing. There's a story behind it too, isn't there? And it's like, well, I haven't just got any Spectrum. I've got one that Scott had. So it makes it more special, doesn't it?
Mate, I'm exactly the same when it comes to the Nintendo Switch controller.
The most successful video
ever. Inside my front room. What's Paul saying? Luckily for Paul, usually the Switch emulator is not Mac. Yeah, I know. I saw my Switch once the emulator came out.
Yeah.
There's no way my Windows laptop is anywhere near as powerful enough.
Yeah.
So, but that's I think that's pretty cool.
But that's what's weird, because like my nephew is mad on emulation, yeah, and he's just spent a fortune on this gaming PC, but all he does is emulate Switch and all these modern systems, and I'm like, hold on, you've spent all this money and you're paying all the systems and the Switch on it. What?
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
What's this? Sega Zombie Spectrum worth a fortune now. Yeah, that's right. It is. Yeah. Yeah. And no one can have it. It's mine.
I'll buy it off you if you ever sell it.
I won't sell it. No way. There's nothing better than a Sanwa or Sumitsu.
That Spectrum's played some pretty expensive games over the years, actually. Some of them hit squads. Woo!
Yeah, yeah. Right, I'm going to move us into our next topic because I think we're getting there anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, it's been hard to...
Yeah, we're trying to sort of toe the line, aren't we? So let's get into that one. It obviously leads off the last one, ways to capture 8-bit micro footage. So for me, the Mini comes in handy, or should I say the C64 Mini and the Amiga Mini, because let's be honest, if you're capturing footage for a video, it's a lot easier to do it with something that's got an HDMI out. So they come in handy for me for that purpose. I imagine you're probably going to say something similar, Paul.
No.
No? Oh, okay. I thought you was.
I don't catch any capture from the Maxi or the Mini.
Right. Yeah, the only time I capture it really from the system is with the Spectrum, because obviously there's unless I use Fuse and did a screen record, which I'd rather not do. So I always, with the Spectrum, it's always a case of putting the phone in front of the TV screen and recording the screen, you know.
Yeah, so in terms of my micro footage, I tend to use a lot of RetroArch for my emulation and just load the calls in. But yeah, all my game footage, not that I've got a huge channel, but all the game footage that I've done is just using RetroArch as an emulator and then using OBS and just
screen record.
Yeah, well, yeah, just using select RetroArch as a source, as effectively a video source if you want.
Yeah.
And just hit record in OBS and off it goes. It works like a dream.
Yeah. See, what I need to get is an OSSC, like what
Martin's got. Yeah.
Martin's got. Yeah. I mean, they're very expensive.
They do look the business though. They do really.
And see, this is where I sort of like go against it.
You don't need that,
because for me, it's nostalgia driven. So for me, having a old system going through a converter to put on a modern TV just makes no sense. It just doesn't compute with me. I have to have a CRT. My room is full of CRTs. I have to have them running.
That's true.
I just can't do it. And it's like, I don't mind playing like the Maxi and things like that. I'll have them through my modern TV because they're convenient. They're quick. But if I want to get into a gaming session, that's going through a proper TV, a real TV.
Yeah.
And it's going to go, you know, all these OSCs and all of this stuff just over my head.
So I agree with you what you're saying there, Scott, because to get that nostalgia and you want the CRT and stuff. But if you were going to do a video and you were going to do a gameplay video and you're going to record, would you still do it on the original CRT and then use your phone?
I painstakingly have gone through so much to try and capture me playing that game and the viewers seeing me play that game through a CRT. To me, means more than just having it generically on the screen. I think it loses something, but this is just me personally. I just feel that it loses some of the feel of the game when it's running straight through some capture device. I want it to be more physical. I want it to be, but it's a pain to do it that way because it's a massive headache, as many of you know, to try and capture CRT television on it. But some of these apps out there and some of these cameras have got it down to a fine art now. You know,
some advice for anyone who's trying to do that: try and look in the options for the camera you're using and go to 50 hertz.
You have
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
Put
and
it
if you can get if you can get an app that allows you to adjust it even more, because I've found with certain tube televisions, the 50 hertz isn't quite enough. You've got to lower it a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was just about to say that myself, because you get the roll otherwise, don't you, on the camera?
You can do, and if it's just a bit out, you get a really slow.
Slow line. That's right. Yeah.
And 8-bit Rach has just put there, I love old hardware, but Jesus Christ, the cables. Rach, I feel your pain. This Amstrad, all the wires. I'm just like, oh my God, because obviously the Amstrad was supposed to plug into an Amstrad monitor. You know, that you've got all these cables now where you've got different power supplies going in, and that is a pain.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean, like I say, when I record Spectrum, I always have to do it with a phone recording the screen. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. Like, and I know Si had this trouble. He had problems with not the backlight on the screen. Only on his, he could turn it off. And I don't know if you noticed, when he does his Spectrum videos, they look really good. Like, the screen looks good. But whenever I try to do it, there's always that backlight, and I can't turn it off on mine, which is really annoying.
Try and edit it out after, like when you can put it through filters.
Yeah,
that's do a filter and like turn the darkness down and the black point up, and you'll find you'll get a lot better picture. And then you can change like the you know when it goes into a square, and you can like choose like the border, choose the border so it brings it out.
Yeah.
You can always like play about with like this way, and there's a few different ways you can play with, so that if you're not perfect on, you can get it perfect. It is possible to do, but when you come to me, I'll tell you more about it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That I never really thought of that. Don't know why I haven't actually come to think of it, because it all makes perfect sense what you just said.
Like what Retro Warps put there about the Sony Bang & Olufsen. When you've got them TVs, the picture is stunning. It's stunning. I showed that on my last video with the Sony Trinitron I picked up.
I love that Sony
27-inch, and you know, I just set the frame rate right on my phone and just showed, you know, everyone how amazing that picture is. And it's just something about the flicker and everything there is to do it with a CRT. To me personally, is what brings out even more nostalgia with these older games.
Yeah,
it's a bit like people. It's a bit like people with arcades. You know, to me, I wouldn't buy a Jammer arcade that's got a modern screen in it. For me, it's got to have that CRT monitor in it.
When you're going to sell that one you've got in the kitchen? I want that one.
You want that one, yeah.
Is it when you get Afterburner?
Yeah, probably.
Juno first. That's what we was all playing when we was down there.
I want first refusal. Oh man, I need that. I need one of those. I don't know where it's going to go, but I need one.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, when we come back from that weekend, one of the first things I did was hooked up my Pandora box to see if Juno First was on there, and it was. And I sat here, I think it was a Saturday, I had Kyle over. So there was me, Connor, and Kyle taking it in turns playing Juno First, which was really good.
It was just I've been out in the back garden. I came in, and so I was like, "Have you ever played this?" And I was like, "Nah, mate,
me neither."
Before. And he's like, "Have a go." And obviously, I've been drinking and smoking, and I got further than sight, and he was absolutely raging.
Yeah, he was, because he come in and got all of us, didn't he?
Literally everyone started playing this game, and then Martin came on and just destroyed us.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I think in the end, you did top his score. I think in the end, though, didn't you, Scott?
Yeah, I did.
The next day, or
the thing is with sort of the early arcade is the gameplay was so pure, so it's really easy for anyone to just pick up and play these games.
Just reaction appeal. It's down to the player. Like you can't blame the game. There's not enough like going on in the game. It's you against the game. There's nothing else there. So if you get killed, it's your fault.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, that was brilliant.
It was great though, wasn't it? Because like that's the thing with
Great
arcade
photos
games.
that night as well. I've
Yeah,
really photos.
it just brings everyone together, doesn't it? When you got a cab like that, you know. And
Mm.
yeah, and think about it. It's not even a new game; it's an old game. But
And chip shop jammer cabs, as then sort of like commonly known, and are not that expensive.
Yeah,
They're still affordable. You can still grab these.
I'm sure Scott, you and Martin were actually sat on the sofa in the front room playing something, and you got dragged away.
Final Vendetta, wasn't it? You was playing,
we was playing Final Vendetta, I think it was, on the Switch
with Martin, weren't you? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the thing. I think I said it to you on that weekend, didn't I, Scott? I said I never understood why people want arcade cabs in their house when you could just emulate or whatever. And then I remember saying after we was all playing on June 1st, I said to Scott, "Now I get it." You know, it all made perfect sense. Yeah.
To me, that game is already my most nostalgic jammer cab game because of the memories that we made. Because I haven't no previous memories.
Yeah.
Like I want to relive that game. I
Yeah.
can't wait to play it again. Can't wait till we do it next time.
Well, I mean, if you find a way of playing it, I've got a ROM of it, Paul. I can send it, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I say, it's on my Pandora. So
on the PSP, there's bound to be something on there.
Yeah, great fun co-op on the sofa. Yeah, that's what Martin's put there. Right. Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. I had to shoot off.
That's all right, mate. No problems. Is there anything you want to add to this, Matt, before we move on?
No, I think it's all.
No. I need to tell you about what I was going to tell you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Right. Okay.
Well, that was just while Matt was away, I just thought we'd fill in.
Yeah.
But all I was going to say was, when it comes to getting footage for videos, it completely depends on how I feel that day. Like, if it's going to be a homebrew game, then I'm more likely to record the TV right there. Like, I'm putting the tape in. I'm recording what it's like to use physical media again. So I feel for the people who like homebrew, they like to see like the game working on a normal TV. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas,
I get that. Yeah,
totally. Whereas if you do like a top 10 or something like that, then because it's probably going to be like a voiceover sort of video.
Yeah,
and I would say it's almost expected that you would have, like an
HD footage
version that's been screen recorded, and do you know what I mean? So you can see all the intricate details of the game while you listen to the information about it. So for me, I like to try and do both.
Yeah.
One works, like it gets way more views than the other, but at the end of the day, I like to play the games on my TV, and I like to record it, and I still enjoy doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though it might not come across as professional or as other channels and stuff, but like sometimes I just like to do YouTube because I'm just showing you what I'm enjoying playing, and that's all it is.
And you've hit the nail on the head. For me, that's exactly what it's about. It's an extension of my hobby, my gaming, and I am a hobbyist channel, I suppose. So for me, that's the best way I can show it. I don't do that. Maybe if I was to do a top 10 Mega Drive games, I'd probably capture it and do a voiceover and do it that way. But
well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But why would you do that? Why do you? It's like expected.
Yeah.
It's like it would be hard to do it a different way. But then, if you did do it a different way and you found a winning formula, then your way would become the way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, see, like one of the things I like doing with the Spectrum is that whenever I hook it up and start playing it, I just put my phone there, it records whatever I'm playing, and so that way you might capture a moment while you're just naturally playing. That's what I do with the Spectrum all the time.
When I look back on my homebrew, like when I'm playing the game, that's me actually playing the game, talking about me playing the game. And you can't beat, like, obviously when you die or when you get somewhere you're not expecting to, and you've got that either that high or that low. You can never recreate that
No.
voiceover. Never. You won't do it.
Yeah.
Like even the best actors, whatever, they won't be able to do that. But it's you've just got to choose. Like you've just got to choose which one you want to do.
Yeah.
I love doing both. Like I really, really like. I genuinely do.
Mm.
So before each video, it just depends. Like, am I going to sit in front of the camera? Am I going to like talk about something I love, and then put some like screen footage in the background, or am I going to introduce the game, show some like introduction to it while talking over the top, show some different footage? It's for that question, ways to capture 8-bit footage. I would say up till about a year ago, I was 100% recording the screen.
Mm.
But as time's gone on, that's definitely come down and down and down. And I would say it's probably 60-40 in favor of emulating and capturing footage at the minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that makes me happy.
I mean, mine comes from a sort of a hangover or a legacy of, again, being new to the hobby. I didn't own these systems. So because I had to emulate them, the only way I could then obviously do the screen capture was like through the way that I was talking about. Once I've got stuff set up, maybe I'll feel differently. And maybe I think, well, actually, I'd really like to record the screen for whatever system. But up until recently, I haven't been owning these systems. So I've had to do.
Also, like someone just mentioned it there in the comments, you just flicked through it. It's a purist thing as well. Like I would never dream. We're talking about game capturing. If I was to ever capture game, which I did in my early videos, I would use original hardware. I'd never emulate because I think that it's kind of cheating a bit. I don't know. It's not a real game, is it?
I'll be honest. I don't like doing it the way I've done it with the C64 and the Amiga. But what I would like to do is what Martin's done, and that's get an OSSC.
Yes,
but they're pricey. See, that's the thing; they're not cheap. I mean, you are looking. You can get like cheap knockoffs for a bit less, but you are looking about 150 quid. So,
I kind of get what you're saying, though, Scott. Like you say, it feels like cheating. I guess anybody can download an emulator. Anybody could go and find the ROMs. You don't necessarily need to be a gamer or a collector. So you could almost like cheat at the hobby a little bit and create a YouTube channel with this footage on there with zero effort, whereas you've had to go out in the wild and maybe go and do the hunt, and you've had to go out and find the games. You've bought the games, you've shedded tears.
I can remember,
sweat.
sort of like with the game capture thing and using real hardware. You don't need an OSC though, do you? You can use an Elgato if you get the older models with the actual RGB connectors in, because that's what I used to use.
That comment there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because I'm sort of doing lists and stuff like that, it's I agree.
I
agree with you as well, Scott. Like for me, like when I see your Spectrum Spectacular, if you put footage on the screen with you doing a voiceover, it would not be.
It wouldn't work, would it?
No,
it would lose something, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It would lose you. It would lose you because you're not in that moment.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about what you're doing. It's just like you're seeing what is you.
Yeah.
And if you've got to think about that, then it's not you. It's you thinking about, well, all sorts of other stuff comes into your head. Whereas when it's happening at the exact time, then that's you.
Yeah.
And as we've spoke about a lot before, people invest time in people's channels because they invest time in you. So that's why it works.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Right. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to add before I move on to the next bit?
Oh, well, no, I'm only caught.
I knew you was on a wind up then. I knew it. Right. Okay. So, as always, we always move into homebrew. This is going to be an interesting one for me this month because I was hoping to be showing a couple of new homebrew games I'd picked up, but unfortunately there's been a bloody postal strike and they haven't arrived. So which is very unusual. I know it's definitely the postal strike because it's from Cytronic and their postal their way of doing things. It's normally here within 3 days. So yeah,
they are probably for the Commodore 64. They are the premier homebrew.
But one of them's not Commodore 64. One of them's for the Spec.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if you want to rely on someone, Cytronic is definitely the.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Very
right. I mean, even when I think once I had a tape that didn't work, and I got onto them, and they was like, "Yeah, no problem. We'll send you a new one," and it was here within a couple of days. Just the tape, because obviously you got the case, you don't need the whole thing. So they just shipped out a tape, done, no questions asked. And yeah, it's a very good service. I mean, anybody who's looking to buy homebrew, especially
you should definitely approach Trev's story, because like he is quite active on YouTube and he works for Cytronic. He makes a lot of the homebrew games. Like, and I think he would love to come on something like this, because I always see him in the comments. Martin, the Hobby Lodge, he's quite often in a lot of the comments on the live game play that he does, and he's worked on a lot of fantastic games.
He was on there Monday, when he Paul, if I remember right.
Yeah, probably. I think he always rocks up for Monday Night Retro, Monday Night Clock, the Hobby Lodge. Definitely check him out. I am literally sat here watching his streams. He plays some great stuff. But yeah,
Martin as well. How he's just put there in that comment about his multiple cameras. I love that. I love how he's like got the setup of his computer, the screen, him.
Scott, you've got to come down and see it. You really have. Definitely. You've got to see the lodge.
I've got to go down and see Martin's setup. Definitely.
I would love to have a setup like he's got. I really would. Yeah.
So Martin, not that I got a bit of man love for Martin, but his setup is I'm trying to emulate. I know everybody does. Everybody loves Martin, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I've made no secret. I have been trying to build a games room for God knows how long, and that's exactly what I am trying to achieve as well, Scott. Where not everybody's got fortunate to have a space where they can convert it, but if you have got space you can convert, you'd be stupid not to include those sort of things as you go along. So yeah, I'm definitely want to try and get something like he has, and get those camera angles, because I think it looks superb.
I think with Martin is thought outside the box because of his tabletop gaming and his miniature painting, and he's got them camera angles dead right. I think with some of his Monday Night Retros, how he streams them is great.
It would be good to put some of those links that Paul's on about in the description or something, because like I struggle to find homebrew. I know Graham Cowie is a guy from Sunderland as well. But Pixel Glass, like I always find it hard to find homebrew for the Amiga.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, really, because like how many of us have nostalgia for the Amiga?
The thing is with the Amiga is not many people. Do you think the physical media side of the Amiga scene isn't so prominent? Because most people, my Amiga days, yes, I had some original games back in the day, which were probably bought for me for presents. But most of my gameplay on the Amiga were blank discs that I swapped with people in the playground.
Yes,
So I think it's a bit of,
it's different to putting the tape in.
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, maybe.
Of course, the other thing is obviously discs over time fail as well. I think that plays a big part into it. That probably why you don't get so much physical for it. Well,
Scott's done a great video on how to clean discs, if I remember right.
Yeah, and the success rate of that disc clean, and apart from poor old Martin.
Yeah, I was going to say, Martin did not have a good time.
But out of all of the discs I cleaned, there was only one out of about 10 that I did not get working using that cleaning technique.
What's that? Pixel Glass are bringing Metro Siege out.
Look at side-scrolling beat 'em up. Like
it's gonna blow Streets of Rage 2 away. Wow,
amazing. It looks. I don't know if Paul can put the link up, but the guy's got a couple of videos at least. He's got.
So this is an Amiga side-scrolling beat 'em up.
I think it is.
Cool. Hang on. Though, if you're a side-scrolling beat 'em up, you're not a true gamer. Apparently. Oh,
Don't listen to that rubbish.
no, I don't, because I love them games. I don't care. What's that? Physical side sounds like loads of maintaining, but man, I love the Amiga. Yeah.
But it's the homebrew scene again. It's funny how it started. So again, being new to the hobby or relatively, I don't know how long I can use that phrase. Well, how can you long can you use the phrase new to the hobby? I don't know. A year's probably a bit too long. But where did it? So I think it was Paul and Si, wasn't it? That you guys were quite heavily into it. But again, it's just amazing how obviously Martin's got into it. I've got a couple of homebrew games, and obviously Lee, you have, and it's great again, isn't it? I mean, to rediscover these games, or rediscover these systems with brand new games, it's just like unreal. And if you imagine, if you take those homebrew games today, if they were released 40 years ago, how much would your mind have been blown? It would have been.
Well, that's the thing for me.
ridiculous.
The one thing I would like to say is for homebrew, it's amazing for me to see how much they can push the system.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
For the Commodore 64, obviously you've got like Sam's Journey, like it pushes it to the absolute max.
And what a fantastic game!
We've got Mario, we've got Sonic.
Yeah.
Or it does have to be an upgraded version to play Sonic. You need extra memory, but I'm not even that. Like when I go to the Spectrum, I remember what my mates were playing back in the day, and I was always like, the color clash and the music and stuff and what have you. But nowadays, when I play homebrew on the Spectrum, well, it's the reason why I bought a Spectrum, because I've got no nostalgia for the older games, but I've started playing some of the older games like Exelon. I think it's absolutely, it's just amazing on the Spectrum. It really is.
Exactly the same for me as well, Paul. That is.
It's because we didn't have it as a kid.
Yeah.
So the homebrew has opened up the whole avenue into Spectrum gaming. If it wasn't for homebrew, I wouldn't have a Spectrum or an Amstrad.
Good example of how I'm buying old software. I mean, this one was recommended to me by Amiga Old School, Kronos. I haven't played it yet, but I've had a look at some of the screenshots. It's a shoot 'em up. So that's one I'm definitely going to play.
What's on?
Spectrum. That's for the Spectrum.
As I say, like, so since then I've played like a lot of original games, like RoboCop. I'd never played on the Spectrum before, which, when you think of it, is a travesty, really.
Yeah,
it's superb.
It's got proper speech as well, isn't it?
The homebrew on the Spectrum, I would say, when it comes to homebrew, the 16 bits are still struggling. Maybe it's not at that point yet, where it's not like as attractive, like the age bracket and not looking, maybe, I don't know. Whereas the 8 bits, when you get a physical tape, and some of the Spectrum games, like all the Bum Fun games are all Spectrum. They're fantastic, and when you play them,
it's just getting them, isn't it? When they turn up and they're still sealed, and you're just like, wow, it's a new old game. There's something real.
Well, that one you got there, Scott. That one you got there, I tried to buy that, but like I was saying, I couldn't buy it because it won't allow me to. But I've got a ROM of it, so I've been playing that, and that's a fantastic game.
But when you unseal them, there's a buzz that you get. It like takes you back to when you was a kid spending your paper round money on these games. You know what I mean?
I bought my Spectrum. I make no joke, no bones about this. I bought my 128K, my Spectrum, on the back end of wanting to buy Redshift physical copy. I want Redshift as a physical copy. I thought, well, if I'm getting a physical copy, I need a Spectrum. So it's the only reason I bought my Specky.
That game, Redshift, knocked Man Cave off #1 for me. Like, that's a cracking game.
Wow, what a game that is! What a shooter! Like, it's just
what's the game, Paul, that you got? Sorry, that was it Russian? I want to say it was Russian or Ukrainian or something. It was the car game. Is that the Spectrum? Is that on the Spectrum?
Yeah, amazing game. I spent a whole day playing.
Travel Through Time, was it?
That's it. Yeah.
This, I mean, if you can see the screenshots here,
absolutely amazing game that is.
that in Commodore. I mean, it would be a tough choice between this and Stunt Car Racer for your favorite 8-bit racing game. It would be because it's not only a racing game; it's like a story as well at the same time. That is, I think, from what I've played, the best racing game on the Spectrum. 100%. Between this and Stunt Car Racer on the Commodore 64 would be an impossible question. I love both games.
It's an amazing game, though, Paul. Isn't it? That was my game of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is
Paul knows that when I loaded that in on that morning when I got it, I did not stop playing it until I finished everything.
You were doing updated videos for about 8 hours.
Yeah, well, there's a few, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Is that relating to the game you was just showing there, Paul? What Martin said? If you could
right.
Martin kept hitting the train.
Well, like the signs next to the road, you've got to take notice of what the signs are. And one says, there's a train crossing coming, slow down. Like it's like train crossing. So you're meant to slow down. And if you do, then you don't hit the train. But if you ignore the signs, and it does tell you which way the road's going and stuff like that. But as we're talking about homebrew, I have actually picked up a homebrew game.
Oh, coming in.
I nearly completely forgot to mention this, but me and Cy done a deal a few weeks ago for this bad boy, the old Zelda. Yeah, love that. I bought it for our last for a birthday, but I've been giving it because he doesn't play it that much. I didn't plan that, honest. But at the same time, he sent. If I said to Scott, what was the best side-scrolling beat 'em up on the Spectrum ever, what would you say?
Oh, that'd either be Renegade or Target Renegade. Depends what mood I'm in, but those two games, they're the best.
Yeah, I thought you'd say Renegade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, Bumfun Gaming have done a re-release of Renegade.
So what have they added that's different then?
I haven't got a clue.
Sign the comments.
Well, we want a video, Paul.
Well, yeah, I've not played it yet. It just says the classic brawler reimagined by Rafael Miazga. And it's the 128 version. The streets aren't alone, blah, 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 use your martial arts. Yeah, it doesn't say note on the back about what's different.
That'd be interesting to know what the differences are, wouldn't it? Because that is a fantastic game. The 128K version of Renegade. Wow. And like I said, it depends on my mood. Because one day I'll favour Target Renegade, but then another day I'll say Renegade. But well, amazing.
I'm definitely going to have to give that a blast. But yeah, that's me last to say on Homebrew for this month. Honestly.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
Homebrew.
I would like to get a few from Bumfun Gaming, but I just can't justify the postage cost.
I'll tell you what, he's been doing, like, I don't know whether you probably don't want to talk about this on the stream, but with the Lady Decade, etc., the guy George who runs Bumfun Gaming
Spectrum,
Spectrum, he's been making a lot of videos recently investigating the Lady Decade Top Hat game and the photograph that they used that should have been paid for and wasn't, and obviously there was the whole that. I don't know if you want to go down that rabbit hole, so probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That'd be a whole stream in itself, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't watch either of them, so
nah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
but the thing is with Homebrew is it's inspiring me because I'm so obsessed with it that I've now bought an Amstrad and an Atari just for the homebrew scene.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's why I bought an Amstrad. Like, I wasn't going to get an Amstrad, but when I saw, it was this one. This was the game that made me buy an Amstrad Galactic Tomb,
or
because-
also known as Ant-Man. That's what I call it. It looks like Ant-Man.
Well, they've brought out a sequel now as well. This one, and honestly, these games, Relentless was what that was my go-to homebrew game for the Amstrad. However, if you like Turrican with a bit more of a platform element, then yeah, definitely Galactic Tomb is definitely the game to go for. And the sequel to this, if you look at the, might look quite familiar. Does that look familiar to you?
Game Over, isn't it?
Yeah,
Similar to
very
Game Over.
Yeah,
game over.
their artwork. Yeah,
So yeah, it's very similar to that, but Amstrad Homebrew, it does exist. You've just got to really, really look
I
for
was
it.
playing a game called Sub Hunter, and that's by Cytronics. And
yeah. There's
that's a really good game.
I have
yeah.
not-
I want that for the C64. It does
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah, I was playing that on the Amstrad last night, but obviously it was just overtaken by Attic Attack. And again, that's a homebrew version of Attic Attack on the Amstrad.
Yeah.
I would say on the Commodore 64, if you want a cheap introduction to homebrew on the Commodore 64, then this will be my recommendation.
Yeah.
And that's the Fate of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Ah.
And that game, I think it's like £8 plus postage. But if you want to try a homebrew game, give this a go, because it don't cost much and it is an absolutely class game. It really, really is. You don't have to spend much to get it. But seriously, this is a definite play for me.
Look at this, Martin. I can't resist giving Paul money.
What did you want to buy now?
No, he's saying about how he got the Harlequin off you.
The Harlequin, it's such an awesome machine, and there's absolutely no way I would have ever sold that machine, because it's an emulation Spectrum, but it uses original chips.
Yeah.
So like the board, it'll play 48K, the 128, it'll do like everything, but it's got original chips in the motherboard. So it's using kind of original hardware, but like an updated motherboard, so you can play any Spectrum game. And I would never have sold that if it wasn't for the Engo.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's the only reason it went. I would never have sold that. It was a awesome machine. Yeah.
Got a question here. I think this might be for you, Paul. What is the name of the game? I haven't found it, or haven't found anything better.
That was that Travel Through Time.
Yeah.
Paul showed.
Yeah. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. On the Amiga or the ST, well, you've got that in Formula One Grand Prix, like that's really good. But Suncor Race is the easiest 16-bit race to get into. It's so much fun. Definitely played. But for the 8 bits, yeah, it's called Travel Through Time. But unfortunately, because this company is based in Russia, as you can see by the flag colours here, because of ongoing events, you're probably going to find this really hard to get hold of. However, you can go on their website and you can download the game for free from them if you've got like a SDR, you know, like a
DivX MMC or whatever it is.
One of those, you know, then things.
Yeah, Div MMC.
That's it.
Swipe the game over. If you can do gaming like that, then you can still play this game. Yeah, on the 16 bits, I would definitely put this alongside Stunt Car Racer. It really is that good. On the Spectrum, for me, it's the best one. It's the best racing game.
Oh, look, Ali's put here. Look, Martin likes skid marks. That's referencing what was said on Monday Night Retro.
Can I find out how we started the stream? That might be one of the games over there as well.
I'm trying to remember exactly what the comment was. Something about I like skid marks, especially at the bottom, or something. When it's something like
Yeah,
that,
it's something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost as bad as. Hang on, while we're at it, it's almost as bad as this clip here.
And get some magic wood. Then they've got trees everywhere. They can
Magic
go
wood. Come on, you can't say that, and I can't not snigger. Come on.
Yeah, you can't.
Alex, we're all watching you, mate. We've all got magic wood. Come on, let's.
I've got magic wood. Yeah.
You know you're going to get Retro Chef in the comments now, don't you?
Oh god! I'm getting a bit geeky, a bit nerdy, aren't I? But yeah.
Well, that's what this is about, though, isn't it? It's a nerdy stream.
I had to play that. That's like the greatest moment of this stream ever. Magic wood. But yeah, when he said it, I said straight away, you know, that's going to end up on Swap Shop now. And I think within literally a half an hour, someone had already pulled it and cut it into a small video. So it's already been done. Matt, Homebrew, what have you been playing recently, if anything?
So I've been playing a lot of Redshift because we'll probably be getting onto this in a bit when we talk about what's coming up next. But I think we were talking about maybe doing some YouTuber high score challenge, and Redshift I think was the game that we were potentially going to do as our first one.
We do need
so
to talk about
Redshift. Yeah, we do need to talk about that actually. What else have I been playing? Well, I got 3 homebrew games for my birthday back in July, but unfortunately, summer, hospitals, holidays, and children have got in the way, so I haven't really had much chance to play. I got Nixie. All these are all C64 games. Nixie, Battle Kingdom, and Shadow over Hawksmill. I think it was the 3 that I got. So, but they're just again sat in their packets in the box in the garage, not doing much because I got to get everything set up. But yeah, really looking forward to those. I got the digital files for them though, so I can play them obviously digitally because they do that. Cytronic, obviously, they give you the digital file once you've bought the game. So,
can I just say that Shadow over Hawksmill? That's the same guys who done the Legend of Atlantis, the game that I was shown before.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh yeah.
It's the same people that done that game, and it's very much the same control system. Like it's the same game, but it's more Indiana Jones. And honestly, honestly, try it out, especially if you've played Shadow over Hawksmill. Definitely give it. If you've enjoyed that, definitely play this.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, there's one for the list as well. Then, so
100%.
yeah, so yeah, I haven't been gone mad on homebrew like some of our esteemed colleagues have, but certainly
Martin.
Mine. I mean, but I originally was just going to buy a C64. I said earlier that I bought a Specky because I wanted Redshift, and I bought a Amstrad similar to the other guys because I want to check out the homebrew scene across the board. I quite fancy getting an ST, and so once I've got myself set up and got on my feet, then I definitely think it's the homebrew scene I'll probably be going more into than some of the older established titles.
It's the nostalgia thing, isn't it? It really does play a part.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember through watching your videos, Paul. I mean, I've said this before on here, the minute I saw some of your videos, I was like, I want to see 64 again now. Like, it is. It tugs on the old heartstrings and nostalgia kicks in, and then that's it.
I remember, like, when I got mine, it was literally completely by pure chance. I'd hurt myself at work. I remember looking on Marketplace because I was bored in bed. I had a bad back, and I saw a Commodore 64 with disc drive. And I remember plugging it into the TV, flicking it on, and when you're flicking that switch on, and then you're typing the commands in, it's like you go back in time, and it's like, oh my god, like how good does this feel? And that was it. Yeah. I was like, this is the rabbit hole now. Here we are. If it wasn't for that moment, and if I didn't see that advert, I wouldn't be sat here, No way.
It's a funny thing because I forget who I was watching the other day, but somebody said it was either a stream or a video. They turned around and said it's funny how nostalgia works because it takes a while before you realise. like for me, I'd
You
been
realise
without.
how good those times were, but you didn't know it back then.
Yeah,
now you
but
do.
you don't notice it straight away. That's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I hadn't had a C64 from since I was probably 14, 15. You know, and here I am. This was last year, so I was 43, and it's like I missed that. You know, it's funny, isn't it? It takes a certain amount of time before you realise it.
Hmm.
For everyone, it's different, obviously, but yeah.
And
I
what's
wouldn't be
great
regretting
about that time is, I don't know about you lads, but I had a Spectrum. My mate that lived up the top of the road from me, he had an Amstrad, and my other best mate had a Commodore 64. And even within my family, like my aunts and uncles, they all had different computers. You know, one had an Atari 2600, the other had a Commodore. You know, so the nostalgia for me is with all the systems because
Yeah,
I played them all.
yeah.
I totally get that, because when I play Emlyn Hughes International Soccer on the Commodore 64, I think it's the best football game. But if I was to pick the most nostalgic version, it would be without a doubt on the Amstrad, because me and my mate Jeffrey Tweedy, we used to play that. Like, I used to go to school. Sorry, we weren't in the same school, and I used to go to his from school and play it. And then I used to come home, and my mum would be like, "Your dinner's absolutely ruined. Like, where have you been?" Like, we had his for hours playing that game. So for me, that is Emlyn Hughes. It's not even the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Weird, how it works.
It's crazy, isn't it? Certain games you associate with certain systems, like what you said, because you played it with a mate, or
I get what you're saying there.
The Dizzy games. Like, when someone told me that they come out on the Amstrad first,
they were developed on the Amstrad. Yeah,
I was blown away. I was like, "What, really?" Because I'd only before there was this lass at school, and she had a Spectrum, and I won't go into details, but we occasionally used to play the Dizzy games. But she had a Spectrum, and because they were out before I could buy them on the Commodore 64, or I didn't really take any notice of them. I didn't know they existed. So for me, I always thought that they were Spectrum games, and then the first one I bought was Magic Land Dizzy, and I loved it. It's the only one that I truly love, but it's totally down to nostalgia. But it wasn't until 2020 or something like that I found out that there were Amstrad games ported to the Spectrum and then ported to the Commodore 64.
It's because the poor old Amstrad just got the raw end of the stick, didn't it? And it just got all the Spectrum games poorly ported over to it, you know, so you kind of forget that them games were developed.
There's so many Amstrad games that have Spectrum ports. It's just like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying there, Scott, about other people having systems, because I've got a little bit of nostalgia for the Acorn Electrum, because a youth club I used to go to, they used to have one set up on an old like black and white TV, and I don't know what the game was that was mainly on, but it was one where you're a little spaceship, and I think when you're getting attacked, you can launch like an escape pod out of it. I'm sure does that sound familiar to anybody? I don't know what it was called. It was a long time ago, but that's what I remember us playing on it.
What, you had to like navigate around the caves or something, like Thrust, that sort of thing?
It was very similar to Thrust, yeah. But I mean, I hate Thrust, right? Whereas I didn't mind this game.
I don't know the game. I don't know the game, but then I want to say that Alex Nintendo Arcade. Did he have a play that or do something on that?
Was it Lunar Lander?
I can't remember the name, but I remember that and I think you might be right, Matt. I'm sure there's a part where you can escape in an escape pod. I'm sure that's what I remember.
The second you said escape from an escape pod, is it a vector based game?
Yes, but a top view.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm positive. I think I saw a video by Alex on that a good while ago.
Yeah.
But as soon as you said the escape pod, something just rang in my. I can't remember the name of the game though.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's a game I remember, and so I do have a bit of nostalgia for the Electron, and I have been looking at them. I got to be honest. But,
Is
I mean,
8-Bit Rachel's going on about a game on the BBC? Is she going on about Granny's Garden?
no,
Colouring a magic cabbage.
I think we had this conversation before. I don't think it was Granny's garden.
No.
It was something else.
See, the thing was with the BBC is there was so many sort of school-based educational software because they were in the schools, weren't they?
Yeah. I think Rach mentioned this game she's talking about here on the stream that I had OSG on, and I think he named the game what it was. I'm sure it was him, but I can't remember what it was. It's gone out of my head now. But yeah, so I do have some nostalgia for that. I mean, Amstrad, I never really got to play it, but a friend of mine had an Amstrad up the road, and I've told this story a few times on here with the ill-fated orange that killed it. But yeah,
story.
Yeah, I mean, it is a funny story. At the time, it was hilarious. I found it highly hilarious. But yeah, so I've always been curious with the Amstrad. That's why I'd like one, because it's the curiosity thing. And obviously,
I just remember that the family that lived up the road from me, and they had Amstrad. They had the green screen, and I can just remember is that I would always take the mick out of him. Be like, oh, it's all green. We didn't know until his dad upgraded.
Wow.
And he went, come round and see this. And I remember the game. I'm sure it was Lemmings he was playing. And he said, oh, come round, Scott. Come and see my new Amstrad. And I was like, oh, here we go. And I went up there and he had a colour one, the colour monitor. And we were blown away because the Amstrad, probably out of all of the 8-bits, has got an amazing colour palette.
Oh, for sure.
Really bright, vibrant color palette, and I'm sure it was Lemmings he was playing, and it blew us away. It was like, wow, this looks amazing.
Oh, hang on, what's Rach saying here? It was Pete on a retro chip. Yes, it was Pete. She's right. It was. You didn't know what it was talking about.
I would say with that game, Rach, that was probably an educational game. There were so many of them.
Oh yeah,
BBC. I can remember so many. I can't remember the games, but I can remember the little things you had to do. Sort of like when you had to add up pennies and things like that.
I remember having a shop. You had a shop.
That's it. The shop one.
Yeah. You had to buy stuff and make your and stuff and sell it and make a profit and what have you. Display that a lot on the BBC. But yeah, going back to what Scott said about the Amstrad, I'd only ever played it on green screen, and apart from Emily and Hughes, Harrier Attack, and for me, Harrier Attack is just awesome. Like, I've played it on other systems, but for me, on green screen, on the either emulating or playing it on the Amstrad, it's got to be in green screen.
It's a good game, though, isn't it? It is a good game.
But I'd never had or seen colour on the Amstrad until I actually got a colour monitor a couple of years ago. And when I put it on, I was absolutely blown. I just couldn't believe. I genuinely felt sorry for people who'd had green screen. And I know Ray had green screen, and that's fair enough because I know she went from the VIC-20 and that. But when I saw the games in colour, I just felt like, oh my God, I can't believe how many people have been missing out on this.
Yeah.
It blows obviously the Commodore 64. It's a lot of abuse for the colour palette being quite brown and what have you. And the Spectrum was good with the colours, but you had the colour clash, so that kind of counted against it. But then you had the Amstrad, and the colours looked awesome, but it couldn't scroll because they used to take Spectrum ports of games and just stick it on the Amstrad, and it's been proven with homebrew that
you can scroll.
Amazingly well.
Yeah.
The other thing about that I remember is I'm sure when my mate got the colour Amstrad monitor, I had just got my Atari ST, and the game, I remember one of the games that was so close, and I just couldn't believe this was on an Amstrad, was Rick Dangerous. I remember getting Rick Dangerous on the Atari ST. He got it for the Amstrad, and I went, that's going to be so much better on my Atari ST. And when I see him play that on his Amstrad, they were a lot closer than they should have been.
Honestly, the colours on the Amstrad was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, guys, we've been going for 2 hours, 19 minutes. So we probably should wrap up
Blimey.
here. Plus, I've noticed that Matt looks really tired. Like, so, I've
No,
noticed.
it's probably the medication they've given me.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because
I
I've
thought it was
noticed.
me talking.
I had to.
Yeah,
Did you not
blame
see me
Paul.
slightly lean to one side at one point so she could stab me in my arm?
I could see that your eyes was slowly becoming piss holes in the snow. That's what it was.
Okay. All the
Right.
good stuff.
Okay.
All the good stuff.
So, as we do usually, we'll go round what we got coming up. Paul, what you got coming up? Anything?
Well, lives wise, the next quiz we've got is something a little bit different. Sega Zombie is on there. Scott, I know Lee, you can't take part because you're at work.
Yeah, gutted, man.
But
Gutted.
it's going to be an 80s blockbuster movies quiz. It's going to be the same format, but it's going to be a little bit different. And nobody knows this yet. I just thought I'd announce it now. The music round, we're going to have 10 bits of music, and the pixelated picture from the film, we're going to have 10 of those as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit more, and then obviously we're going to have the video box, the original box art of the video.
Oh.
It's going to be zoomed into a part where it may not look as obvious as what it should be. We're going down the same route with the video rounds, and the questions as well. But it's all going to be on videos that I know Lee and Scott and Steve. It was Gashead Steve who requested about nearly a year ago. Would you do a movie quiz? So
Don't put any Ghostbusters in then, because he'll know them.
there may be a question. There may be a Star Wars one. You never know.
Oh, Star Wars without me? God. What's going on here?
I said question, like literally, but there might not be. Who knows? So yeah, we've got that. I'm working on a video that's it's a Commodore 64 fanboy, I suppose. It's the ultimate video that anyone wants to do about a system that they love. So that's my next project. Footage wise, I've got 3 more bits of footage to go. It's going to be a voiceover video. It's going to be quite long. At the minute, it's 1 hour 13, and I've still got another 3 bits of footage to put in, and then do what I need to do. So yeah, that's the next one. So it's going to be quite a while. But in the meantime, as I've been saying all night, we've been talking about Amiga. Got loads of Amiga games there for part 3 of the Amiga Big Box Collection, which is just games that I used to have as a kid. But because I had no money, I used to literally copy every game. The only game I used to actually own was Championship Manager. So yeah, part 3 and part 4 of that will probably happen before the next big video. But apart from that, yeah, maybe try and fit in a retro gamer quiz, which is what my t-shirt is.
Yeah.
It's the light that's in it. It's so great, so you can't really see it. Yeah, that's it.
Matt, obviously, I know.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, I've not done hardly anything recently. It's just been a bit manic with lots of things going on. Obviously, health being the main one. So probably the main thing I need to concentrate on is getting fit, healthy, and getting back to doing some retro goodness. I absolutely need to get my games room. For those that don't know, I'm halfway through. I'm not even halfway through converting half of a double garage. So I've got my own space. At the minute, all my stuff is just literally in cardboard boxes piled up, so it hardly gets used. So that's got to be the priority, so I can get space to actually then sit in, enjoy, relax, play games, interact with you guys. So that's got to be the priority, really. But yeah, getting healthy and cracking on with that really is all that I've got on my agenda. But yeah, just I want to just echo what I said at the beginning of the stream, guys. To everybody in the comments, everybody out there on YouTube, all those that aren't on YouTube, amazing. Thank you very much for the support and all the messages. It's really appreciated. It does help, even though if you think it doesn't help, honestly, it helps massively knowing there's people out there. So thinking of you. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was really nice. Whoa. We have a very touching moment, and then Paul goes,
Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, Paul.
Scott.
Well, I'm going to be on the movie quiz, and I'm also going to be on Swap Shop again at the end of the month. Video wise, I've got something I'm really buzzing and excited for. I'm going to be doing a Spectrum Spectacular soon, which is long overdue. I looked back on my YouTube channel, and it's been 3 months since my last Spectrum Spectacular.
Oh, it's been longer.
So I've got to do that. And I've got something really exciting, something that I'm extremely passionate about. And it's some obscure gaming systems that are related to some tech that I'm really got into heavily, 80s tech. So that's all going to make sense. I don't want to give anything away because these systems are going to be very comical and hopefully good. So I can't wait to film that. I've got the first systems arrived, and I can't wait to film that. So hopefully over the weekend I can get the video done and out there soon.
Sounds interesting. Is this the one that you was talking to Si about the other day?
Yes.
Yeah, he was trying to guess, wasn't he, what it was?
He's trying to guess. He's trying to guess what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be. I don't want to say console because that might be selling it a bit too much. But a gaming system, that's what I'm going to label it.
That works. That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued to know what this is. I've got to be honest.
Me too.
Right.
Well, you never know. I might start a trend. Everyone might want to go and collect these. And there might be a whole new homebrew scene waiting to happen.
The cynicism in your voice is just
Yeah, it's like whatever he's got can't be that good.
It's going to be comical. It's going to be funny.
Yeah. I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
It's always good trying to figure out what someone's on about as well, isn't it? Let's be honest.
See, I always tell you, so you always know. Because I need help.
Right. Okay. So I've got a couple of homebrews. I've partly done the videos too, which I need to finish. So I'll have that coming up. But I've also going to have a Star Wars video game pursuit video coming up soon because I've picked a few bits up. Also, and funny enough, a couple of them bits I picked up in a retro shop in Newquay because that's where I was on holiday the other week. So I'm going to be showing that. But also, I visited somewhere else that's game related in Newquay, and it's pretty cool. I quite enjoyed my short amount of time in there, but I'm not going to give anything away on that. I'm going to do a video on that.
You kept that one close to your chest, mate. You haven't even told me.
I did briefly say to Scott when we was talking about the shop.
Right, okay.
But I think it was in our group, wasn't it? I'm sure it was.
I missed that.
Yeah, I did say to Scott that someone had done something game relating in a different sort of way, which was keeping people or getting people in and keeping them there, if you know what I mean. It'll all become clear when I do the video because I can't really explain it without giving it away. But yeah,
right. This is how I like it how you put me out to dry first, and then.
But yeah, there's obviously all four of us went in. Well, in fact, 5 because the thing with Cornwall is they're very dog friendly, so we even could take the dog in this place, which will probably surprise you when you find out what it is. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So I got loads of pictures. The missus did a little bit of filming, not too much because she noticed the guy behind the counter was sort of looking over. So so there's plenty of photos.
In those pole dancing places, you're not really allowed to do that.
Yeah, the thing was, I didn't want to go in there and say to the guy, oh, you know, like some of these Billy Big Balls do, where they go and go, I'm a YouTuber, so if I'm filming it, I don't like doing that. I like to just go in as a normal person, and if you can get a little bit of footage without, you know, drawing attention to yourself, I like to do that. Whereas some people would go in there thinking they're all that, you know, and really, I think you just make a prat out of yourself if you do that, don't you? So, yeah, so it was just a case of getting some photos of the kids and myself and a bit of filming. So, yeah, anyway, it'll all become clear when I do it, but it was pretty cool. And once you see the video, you'll get what I mean. I'm just going to go through these last bits. Thank you for this nice chat. Choose Retro Walk.
Well, 3 of you are on here. Are we due for another Retro 5 soon? Is that next?
I think we've agreed that's the 26th, isn't it?
Yes, we've definitely got. I don't know. Have we announced it yet? Who's on there?
We haven't announced it, have we?
Yeah.
No, but I do wonder if we should at this point because we know what happened before. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's your stream, Lee. You go for it if you want.
Oh, you can't put me on the spot like this.
Yes.
No,
we've got a really, really cool guest coming on.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who. Yeah.
And it's right before Blackpool, the Expo Blackpool. Yeah, so it's going to match in nicely with that. That's as much as I want to give away.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of putting it. Yeah.
It's on the 26th, did you say? Yeah, 26th?
Yeah, 26th. And it's whose channel is it going to be on? Is it yours, Paul?
No, it's not me. It's either going to be on Size or Lee Retro Chef. It depends because we might have another guest on as well. If we do, then it'll be on Lee's because he pays for StreamYard, so we can have more people on. If we only have the one guest, then it'll be on Size channel because there'll be like 6 of us in total, which is what like you can put out normally.
Yeah.
So it depends. We're not 100% sure yet, but we'll work it out in a few days. We'll work it out over the weekend and get it sorted. And we'll put it on the Facebook group and our channels, etc.
And
but either way, it's going to be a good one.
I'm going to give a little tiny hint. Everybody in this chat right now wants to watch that. That's all I'm going to say. So that's a fair comment. That's a fair comment.
I can't see, but yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, just the fact that they're watching this, that's what I mean.
Exactly.
You know? You're watching this, you're going to want to watch that.
You definitely you will.
Definitely a micro influence.
Yeah. It's got a nice taste of micro. Yeah. Right. Okay. So before we go, I just want to say thanks to my guests, Paul, Scott, and especially Matt, because I know that Matt is unwell at the moment, so he's been a real trooper coming on here.
Get well soon, mate.
Yeah,
no words. Enjoy it.
And also thanks to everybody in the chat, because there's been plenty of chat tonight. It's been great. There's been a lot of interaction, and I enjoyed reading all the comments and that and flagging them up. So yeah, I've really enjoyed tonight, guys. So thanks for that.
Me
and
too.
Been great.
So much so. Look, we've gone half hour over.
Honestly, this is my I love being on the stream. I can, you know how much I can talk, and when it comes to my, mate, I could just fill like 2 hours just talking shite. You know me. I love being on the stream. I love Mike Rose.
You talk away, mate. It's always good. So, right. So there's one more thing left to do before I end this thing, and it's a tradition, as everybody knows now. And that is, we've all got to do this dodgy game show wave. Only I've got to switch hands because I need to click the mouse. See you later, guys.
See you later.